Hello, everybody, and welcome here to Richmond for round 6 of the Prestige Racing Cup of the Prestige Racing Cup series here at Richmond Raceway, not Nashville Super Speedway. That is for tomorrow for the AWC Pro Series. But hello, everybody. My name is Cristian Zarate alongside Peter Terrio up here in the booth. But Peter, Richmond, we saw a barn burner at Charlotte last week, and back here for our first points-paying short track of the season.
It should be an exciting race and a historic track at Richmond Raceway under the lights, and a lot of drivers bringing out historic paint schemes to match the vibe of the night, and hopefully looking for another competitive and incredible race to watch.
It's definitely going to be interesting. Obviously, as we talked about it, the first short track of the season, and obviously we've seen some drivers come out here with some nice looking paints. We'll see if we can find some of these throwback schemes for you all tonight. You're looking at currently your fastest practice, Jacob Quill, number 29 machine. Still looking like maybe the guy to beat day in and day out. Well, look at some of these throwback schemes. We have Owen Fisher and this Ryan. I believe it's got to be this the Ryan Newman Army machine here with the Audi's designs on the side.
Fisher had a great race last week all the way up until some misfortune towards the end, but he gained the point lead after that and took it away from Jacob Quill, who didn't show up. So that 39 Ryan Newman Throwback is going to be looking to hold his top of the point standings, and he actually just went quicker. He is currently a 10th off of Jacob Quill.
Jordan Fisher goes up to P2 in practice. We do have some shenanigan laps right now with some people trying to wall ride here in practice, but now Jacob Quill, Jordan Fisher, Tyler Helms in that 48 back there in P3.
Yeah, and Helms looked really good last week, and I know, Christian, me and you were kind of talking about it before. He had some issues with the way Cristian Zarate raced him maybe to get that win, so maybe we could see Helms. Maybe I wouldn't say Tyler Helms is going to be somebody who's going to go out there and, purposely wreck Cristian Zarate, but I think we could see the way he races that 53 maybe will heat up a little bit, not cut him quite as many breaks.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Helms is someone racing for a championship versus that 53 who is in the session right now, has not set a lap. That was his second race of the season, so, I mean, it can definitely show your hand of how you feel about some certain situations. You see the 25, Benjamin Bushnell, and that iconic look at 25, that bright yellow and blue machine that we've come to know and love.
And how about Devin Galvin on his outside in the 9 Casey Kane Throwback? That's obviously a very classic paint scheme there. Well, many drivers have run that number with that paint scheme. Bill Elliott, one of those, and countless others. And that iconic 9 font on the side with the swoops coming off the top of it. He's going to lose it onto the back straight away, but it's going to be exciting to see that car and many others under the lights tonight.
That Ray Evernham font, just iconic if you're out, the 2010s era NASCAR, even, the 2000s era with the Gen 4 and then eventually going to the COT before they eventually decided to shut down their operations during the 2010s. But yeah, obviously that iconic Evernham font. Look at that 51 behind him, Andrew Tinold.
Yeah, and we saw that paint scheme brought out at Darlington as well, where he had a really good run, ended up getting a one-race suspension, though, out of that race when the 51 made contact with another driver, trying after previous contact, and ended up kind of ruining both their nights. But Tenold has been very fast pretty much all season. It's been a shoo-in to have that 51 up front, but currently in practice, he is about half a second off of Jacob Quill at that top spot, so he's going to need a little bit more in qualifying in the race if he wants to be up there.
And speaking of Jacob Quill, with seconds ticking down in practice, this number 29 will once again be your fastest in practice. We get ready to head into qualifying, and obviously, Peter, here with these next ones, you talked about running some laps here recently. Qualifying is going to mean everything, especially at these shorter style tracks.
Yeah, and it's really important to watch your on-throttle time. It's easy to heat up the rears in these cars, especially with those smaller sidewalls compared to an Xfinity car or a truck. So it's a game. You got to be careful on these cold tires, but you also got to set the best lap possible. And I think we could count on Jacob Quill being one of those drivers that we'll see towards the front after this session is over.
Looking at this 95, Zachary Beekman, one of your first guys out on the track. And, Zach has shown some speed here and there. Hasn't really shown, winning speed, but has been consistent, doing a pretty good job, keeping his car clean as we get ready to see him start his qualifying laps.
Yeah, and Beekman's going to show you the way around right now, and it's a really weirdly shaped racetrack. That start-finish line is right on the exit of turn 4. It's not in the middle of the straightaway, so it's all about getting that power down coming out of the corners. And right now, Beekman through 3 and 4, his first lap down, kept the car pretty stable all the way around. Zachary Beekman, first lap complete, onto the second.
Beekman, currently, I believe you're full right now with the 21.9, but obviously lots of drivers to come. Still keeping the pull here as he comes out to complete the second lap.
And second lap complete for Zachary Beekman. And it's a little bit better, about a tenth better, but not good enough to keep the top spot. It's actually Joseph Smith at the top of the board in the 89. And then it's Alex Kosinski in the second spot.
But Fisher making his way out on track with just over 3 minutes left. And obviously you have to look at this 39 as someone to look at for a favorite to win. It's been quick everywhere we go, even at the Clash here, which was really our only sample size of what these drivers can do at a short track. And that 39 was obviously very quick there as well.
Yeah, and I'm shocked to see that race winner, Tyler Curley, not in the field tonight. And obviously we haven't seen him in a little bit, but he would have had a lot of speed. This is one of those tracks that's very skill-based, and Curley seems to be very prominent when it comes to those kind of tracks. So shocking not to see him. Fisher's going to slide, and that's going to kill pretty much both his laps. I mean, it's not going to take him. He's still going to set laps, but that is the worst spot to make a mistake.
Now puts that 39 machine back to P9, 21.86. If he can improve, I now in the green. Looks like on timing on scoring. Back to the line. 21.7. Not enough.
P9.
Not enough to bump him up. Nicholas Road goes to P10. We still have a slew of drivers to come out. And here he is, the number 29, Jacob Quill. As he comes out on track to start his qualifying.
And if you want to watch a fast lap, this is the time to do it, because Jacob Quill is going to be on an absolute tear. He showed a lot of speed in practice, and he's going to actually park it and maybe reset. Maybe wasn't too happy with the way he warmed up there.
Yeah, Jacob, very particular in these warm-up laps to see what he can do here. So we're going to go side by side and show you on board here, but Jacob has decided to give us a little bit of a ruse and park it right there. Right now,
Yeah.
we'll go. It's just 45. Alec Eskridge. And now currently P16. Probably not the laps he wanted, but trying to get some valuable time under his belt. Try to get a feel for the car. Obviously, Alex was really quick in Season 1. Looks like he was a potential favorite to go up there and race for a championship. Was unable to do it, but just has not shown the speed or really the pace or luck out of that 45 machine. You'll see him take a spin. And now here comes Jacob Quill.
Yeah, and Eskridge had that big crash at Charlotte down the back straightaway, and luckily happy to see him out here as Quill now begins his first lap. Down the back straightaway, he's going to run the top in 3 and 4 to set up for this second one. Get as much speed as he can. The tires are warm. It's time to set the heater.
Gonna use that downshift to get down into 4th gear, wrap that yellow line, use up all that momentum to get up there. A little bit sideways out of 2, but not enough to break the momentum. Down into 3. Heater will take him across the line.
Yeah, he pinches that line all the way down, wraps it all the way to the outside wall, down across the line, and Jacob Quill goes P1, 21.358 for the 29 machine. The Quill Performance Speed Shop machine is going to go P1 in qualifying, and that's going to end it.
I mean, what a way to come out, you know, in the last couple seconds. Comes out here and just steals the show once again. Comes out here, grabs the pole once again, and I mean, it just shows how much those Quill performance machines are really putting in the work here in the off time.
Yeah, and you got to think when drivers saw Jacob Quill's name sign up for this race, they had to be a little bit upset about it because Quill is always a shoo-in to be up front. Now, we've seen him make some mistakes over this season when he has been running up front and not quite put together the finishes. Sure, he's got the wins, and sure, he is up front, but it's not. I mean, I would say it's a little bit out of character for him to make mistakes, but we've seen it before.
We have most of the cars graded, so we'll go ahead and start your starting lineup tonight here at Richmond. As obviously we just saw that lap by the 29. Jacob Quill will be your pole sitter for tonight's race. Joseph Smith in that 89 going to be outside front row. Alex Krasinski and Joshua Parent in that 47 going to round out row 2. Row 3, Benjamin Bushnell alongside Wyatt Thompson in the number 77. Wyatt Youngblood alongside there in P7 and P8. Going to be Blair Saunders in that 98 machine. Rounding out your top 10, Andrew Tenold and Jordan Fisher in that 39 machine.
The 11th spot, it's going to be Nicholas Rode, and on his outside, in row 6, it's going to be Gio Turpin. Zachary Beekman is going to start in the 13th position with Brian White on his outside. Row 8 is going to be Eli McDonald with Dustin Hardy. Alex Estridge is going to start 17th, and Aiden Lucas in the 18th spot. And it's Justin Wilkes in the 19th position, and the 13 of TJ Hanley in the 20th spot.
Oliver Quinney in that number 41 machine will start your back half of the 20s in that 41 machine. Cristian Zarate, last week's winner, back there in P22. JJ Moore, P23, with Tyler Helms back there in the 48, P24. P25, Gabriel Ngoli with Brandon Kiger, that your winner at Daytona, back there in P26. P27, Joseph Enright in that number 7 machine with Kendorian Davis, P28. And rounding out your top 30 is Nicholas Amos with Dalton Bernius in that 30th spot. And rounding out your field is Kevin Dalvin and Jeffrey Herrick back there in the 49 machine.
Pretty full field, and it's characteristic of the Prestige Cup Series. It's been an exciting season to watch. 5 tire sets for these drivers under the lights. 5 sets, including the one on the car. So they have 4 in the pits to take, 70% fuel. So these drivers are going to have to be careful with their fuel. 3 green-white checkers and a stage break on lap 60.
Taking a look at your race weather for tonight's race, 77 degrees. Lots of humidity here in the Prestige Cup Series, and you love to see it, but you know, 52% humidity with a little bit of wind, little to no wind. So it's a great night of racing for everybody here. We get ready to see that pace car take a hard left turn, and that number 49, Jacob Quill, the 31 of Joseph Smith. It says 89 on the sim, but it's going to be 31 on the track as we get a Chevy front row. We get ready to go. 200 laps here at Richmond, going into the Geico Restart Zone for the first time, and we're green here from Richmond.
And as Jacob Quill comes out of turn 4, he's going to lead the first lap. One car slides in the back, and now around goes your outside pole sitter in the 31 machine. Down through the grass he's going to go, gathers it back up. And that was Joseph Smith. He set such a good lap in qualifying, and now he's mired back to the back of the field with Jacob Quill, P1.
And Jacob's already pulled out to a pretty sizable lead here as they get ready to race back here outside the top 5. See Jordan Fisher up there in the 6th position, looking at that battle, too wide right in front of him.
Yeah, and Wyatt Thompson is the car on the bottom, and on the outside, one car tunneled around to the back. Collects Estridge, I believe, in the 45. No, and there's the caution. Yellow flag for the first time today. 3 laps in. It started with Andrew Tenold coming out of turn 2 in the 51. I think Estridge just had nowhere to go.
Take a look at this 51 machine as he goes back here into turn 2. Yeah, just loses on his own. We're here. We'll look at this trapper cam and take a look and see what happens to this number 51 machine. Yeah, just kind of loses on his own, getting into the gas a little bit too quickly. The 45, nowhere to go.
Man. Collects McDonald as well. And remember, I mentioned it, we both mentioned it in qualifying about being easy on the gas on cold tires, because this next gen will really step out on you coming out of the corners. It's really easy, and you see a little bit of contact after the yellow there, but it looks like Tenold maybe just got on the seam a little bit with that right rear and got on the gas just a little bit too hard.
I mean, it's easy to do here at Richmond, and really Richmond is a very line-sensitive track. You really need to go down there and run the bottom. You can kind of run in that middle line to kind of pinch off the top to maybe try to make a pass, or especially to defend, you know, at these shorter style tracks, these, you call it D-shaped ovals that are shorter like this, like a Richmond, like an Iowa. You can really defend a lot easier running that top lane, but obviously you're going to be running faster. You're going to be saving a lot better tire down there on the bottom lane versus that higher lane. And we just saw right there with the cold tires, the higher you go, the easier it's going to be to spin it out there, trying to get in the gas too early.
Yeah, and each end of this track is very different. It's a little bit harder to see on TV, but coming out of turn 2, it really tightens up. That outside wall can sneak up on you extremely fast compared to turn 4. You come out of turn 4, you can really let the car go wide, really drive it off the corner and just let it go to the wall. But off turn 2, you got to be a lot more careful. A lot of drivers going to have more wheel in it. And unfortunately for Andrew Tenold, it bit him a little bit there on lap 3.
Well, at least it's lap 3, you know, it's ball and grace to go. You know, you got to take those mistakes, put them in the rearview mirror, and, you know, especially for someone like that 51, who we know has had the pace to come up here and run up inside the top 5, just have to put those mistakes aside and just put your head back down and just try to, you know, do the best you can to get back up through the field.
And Tenold is a driver where he's very fast when he wants to be. If he wants to charge through the field, he can do it. And we kind of saw that bite him a little bit at Charlotte. He kind of burned the tires up trying to take the lead early, and it mired him back 20 or so laps into that race. But now if he's farther back like he is today, in the 30 or so spot, he is going to be able to use that driving a little more to his advantage, and burning the tires up isn't really his biggest issue at this point.
Exactly. I mean, lap 3, obviously you're going to have, you know, a little bit of worse tires, but obviously here at the short tracks, it takes a lot longer to burn them up. But see, Jacob Quill actually picked the top. That's going to get the 72, and Alex Krasinski the bottom as we get ready to go back green.
And a great restart there for Jacob Quill. Thompson on his outside, and Wyatt Thompson has been extremely fast the last couple weeks. We've seen him not quite be able to put together the finishes that he's wanted, but he showed a ton of speed. Very aggressive driver in that 77, really matches that number in the Cup Series. And I'm excited to see what he's going to be able to do as he slots into the 3rd spot.
And side by side behind, Joshua Parent's going to go to the top of that 39 machine. He's going to catch the wall. That's going to put him vulnerable to the 98. And he is going to cut him a break right there.
Yeah, definitely cut him a big break. If Blair Saunders wanted to, he could have sent it in there deep and gotten to the back of Joshua Parent. Oh, and maybe he just tried to do that a little bit there. He's going to burn some time there and now be under attack from Wyatt Youngblood in the 1 machine.
The Taco Bell machine looking underneath the 98. See Youngblood trying to shallow up the entry. Is going to give him a risk at being side by side with Geo Turpin. Geo Turpin's going to clear, but here comes the 47 underneath the 98 to try to make this, to try to keep the spot.
And right in front of them, Fisher has looked to the inside of Wyatt Thompson in the Hardy Designs number 39, looking to try and get to the front. Remember, he qualified back in the 11th spot, I believe. 10th spot. And Jordan Fisher, he is no stranger to being up front and having a car to run up there. Just a little couple mistakes in qualifying mires him back, but he wasted no time getting to that 3rd spot.
And made a little mistake getting behind the 72. Gonna put him side by side with the 77, but here he's a good corner. He's going to clear the 77 here out of 2.
And he really rolls the top. And somebody else who just rolled the top, Blair Saunders, to the outside of Wyatt Thompson as they catch the slow car, the 49 machine. Gets out of the way and onto the apron. And, I mean, don't look now, but Jordan Fisher is already on the back bumper of the 72 of Kosinski.
Yeah, Fisher's showing no mercy for the field right now. Knows that that Quill machine is probably the guy you need to go. Just see the 72 blink behind. As he makes that pass, put Jordan Fisher up to the P2 spot.
And Kosinski looks very fast, but he had blinking problems in practice. He actually ended up getting sent to the pits once due to iRacing's blinking prevention thing that they implemented in the last big update. So hopefully that doesn't happen for him, and hopefully that blinking kind of files out, because obviously that 72 has got a hot rod under the engine.
Yeah, I mean, that's just the way it is sometimes with iRacing. Obviously, you know, there's people all over the world that can log on to the service, race with whoever you want, and unfortunately, it makes it hard for iRacing to try to dictate that, and, you know, iRacing put in that update to, you know, I wouldn't say penalize, but at least just to help the other drivers, right? Because it's not really hurting you at all when you're blinking, but it does make it very dangerous for everybody else around you when it comes to the blinking. Where are you not? Especially when it comes to blinking, that's when you have to think about new net code coming into play and all sorts of other troubles.
Just a couple spots behind him, Gio Turpin has now looked to the inside of Joshua Parent. And Parent has showed some speed earlier in the season. He looked very fast at Daytona when he had a bunch of teammates with him, but he's been one of the few drivers to on that team to really consistently show a lot of pace towards the front as this season has gone on. And that 47 Sunny D Chevrolet holds the 6th spot for now over Turpin.
Yeah, Turpin got to the rear end of that machine. Couldn't make the pass work, and you actually saw him pull a little bit away from the 42. As his Miller has that one behind him. He's going to put the pressure on if he does slip up here trying to get around this 47.
And we know Youngblood is not afraid to make moves. He's obviously a very fast driver, so Turpin doesn't want to be at his dismay. And he goes to the inside now of Parent, side by side down to the 3.
42 gonna clear here, and now here comes the one machine. Not gonna get a run. Gonna try to make something happen here going into 1 and 2.
And Parent pulls the crossover down to the inside now, but he gets the nose chopped off there by Turpin. Turpin gets the spot by a car length. Give Gio Turpin 6. Joshua Parent now at the mercy of Wyatt Youngblood.
Jacob Quill has been ran down by the 39 machine. Gordon Fisher up all over the back rear end of this 29 machine. I think Jacob Quill thought he was smooth sailing away, and then here comes this 39 machine out of nowhere to come and make it a battle for this lead.
Well, and I wonder with the lead that Jacob Quill had, maybe he wanted to just ride for a bit and save his stuff. Obviously, Fisher has had to do a lot more work to get where Quill is now, so his tires are going to be a little more hurt than Jacob Quill. And I think if we were to see him get side by side here, it should be a pretty good fight, because I bet Quill has a little more tire left in him.
Yeah, you can see that Quill's not really pushing a whole lot, but obviously Fisher, he started, you know, outside the top 5 here, had the driver's way through the field, and we know that, you know, he's not going to be a guy to just sit back and let Quill lead. You know, he talked about it before. He said, I'd rather, you know, finish last trying to race Quill for the lead than just sit there and let him continue to lead laps.
To the inside, Fisher goes. He seems to be the kryptonite to Jacob Quill this season. And that Hardy Designs Ford looks to maybe have led that lap. I don't know. Jacob Quill, it was pretty close at the line there. And Quill got a huge run off turn 4 and dove it into 1.
Yeah, Quill's going to be aggressive here once again. You see the 39 a little bit upset and allow Quill to clear once again.
Yeah, Fisher really struggling with the rear end of that car on throttle out of both ends of the racetrack. And as this night goes on, it's going to start to change. The sun is going to go down even more than it is now, and that temperature is going to start to drop. So as it starts to go, these drivers are going to have to adapt, figure out what their car really needs, especially once we get to that stage break, which is about 35 laps out.
Yeah, and there's going to be that sweet spot. You know, for fans at home, you might think, oh, well, when it gets cooler, it's probably going to, like, help grip up the track. There is a sweet spot, right? It can get too cold to where it actually makes it a little bit harder to get into the throttle, get down there, drive it down there into the corner, right? Well, you'll lose the front end on entry just trying to drive it in, and you're going to lose the rear end. Track can actually get too cold once the track goes down. It can make it harder for these drivers to get down there and actually make competitive lap times.
Yeah, and not only that, but also once these drivers put fresh tires on, those cold tires, the effects of them are going to be maximized even more as the temperature starts to drop. It's going to take longer to get heat in the tires. So somebody like Jordan Fisher, who really drives his car hard out of the gate, might find an advantage with that because those tires might get a little hotter for him as opposed to somebody like a Kosinski or a Jacob Quill.
Yeah, you could tell the two driving styles between these two. You see Jacob Quill is someone who can push if he needs to, but really wants to set that car up for the long run to have the car at the end. This is Jordan, who is always consistently driving the car hard, and especially with that qualifying spot, was kind of forced to drive hard to get up here to the back end of the 29. And now you see that he's gotten there, but has had a lot of struggle trying to get around this 29 machine.
I almost wonder at this point, maybe he's decided that trying to pass Quill is just going to burn his tires up more than they have. So maybe now that you've gotten here, save a little bit of what you have now, wait till that stage break happens, and then you're on an even playing field just like you started on the outside pole.
Exactly. I wouldn't bother burning myself up. You're sitting back here in P2 with a really good cushion, almost 2 seconds back to P3. You're going to get, unless a mistake out of at Jacob Quill, you're probably going to get this P2's position for stage points, which is massive. But, you know, I wouldn't push my stuff right now with, you know, 30 of 200 left to go to try to get around this 29.
Yeah, and top 9 are single file. The first battle on the track is Aiden Lucas with Zachary Beekman. And Lucas is another driver that showed a lot of speed, but it's been a lot of late race speed. We don't end up really talking about him until the latter half of a race. But right now, a lot of speed in that 87, even with some damage on the nose.
And see that dimple on the front end? Made some contact with someone, maybe do that caution on lap 3, or maybe just, you know, trying to get around some people. But, yeah, I mean, this 87 has always shown kind of, you want to call it sneaky speed, right? Doesn't really show to have, you know, race-winning pace at the end, but somehow always finds a way up to the front, you know? He's a grinder, he's a journeyman, right? He always gets his way up to the front when it counts.
And he's one of those drivers who does like to save his stuff a little bit, and I think we're seeing him start to push now, and the caution is going to wave, so it's not going to matter. And there he is. Eli McDonald stopped on the back straightaway.
You see that 73 slow. We'll see. Maybe just a little, looks like maybe a little mistake out of the 73, I'm going to assume. See a little bit of damage to that right front. Oh, get some contact, get some help from the 69 machine.
Yeah, Eli McDonald, he did nothing wrong there. We weren't able to even see the 69 of Bernius. Once when the leaders passed those two stopped cars on the bottom, but maybe the chopper cam can give us a little bit of a better idea of what happened.
You see them going into 1 and 2 here. 73 obviously looks a little bit off pace. Maybe has some damage. You see him getting to the wall. 69 with just a little bit of a better corner. Maybe just misjudged if he was clear or not. It comes down and tags the 73.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, especially because McDonald was involved in that lap 3 incident with Tenold. So now 2 incidents for that 73 STP machine, the classic Richard Petty colors. And unfortunately, he's going to mire him back. And with no fast repair, these drivers have to take all their damage in seconds on pit lane.
Remember, the admins came up with a new rule this race that they put an incident limit on these drivers. I think they said it was a 25x. So not looking good for McDonald. Obviously a long race to go, but obviously with only 34 laps, we know he's got at least an 8x from those 2 wrecks he got caught up in, and cannot continue to pile on these X's here throughout the race.
Yeah, and now is where drivers have to make the decision. Only 34 laps in, and remember, 5 sets of tires, including the one that's on the car. That doesn't leave you really much in the way of wiggle room, and it looks like Jacob Quill knows that. Jordan Fisher knows that. Alex Kosinski knows that because they all stayed out. A good chunk of the field is still out on the racetrack on the tires that they started on.
Remember, they know that they're getting that stage caution soon here in the foreshadow. So I imagine that a lot of these drivers are just going to stay out. Even if they don't have the best tires underneath them, just try to limp it around here to get to that stage caution.
Yeah, and especially if you're a driver who's not really had any incidents so far, and somebody like Jacob Quill, who may have been saving his tires with the cushion he had early before Fisher caught him, you might be in a good spot to push for the rest of this stage if you really want to. And there it is. Jacob Quill takes the top for the second restart.
We'll see Jacob Quill on the top, and Jordan Fisher is going to have the bottom. And obviously we've seen Jacob Cole be one of those guys who's always kind of shows the top here. Obviously, it's really hard to gauge when the leader's going on the top. I mean, it's just kind of unorthodox, right? Besides maybe in real life with the Cup Series, especially here on iRacing and with the officials and everything. I mean, everybody's kind of hardwired into, leader goes on the bottom and that second place goes on top, and you're just used to being able to kind of recognize when the leader goes down there. But Jacob Quill gets to choose, and he chose that top here. But going into the Geico restart zone, we'll be going green, hopefully to the end of stage 1.
Last time Quill went early, this time he goes right about in the middle, and Fisher does not get a good jump. He's going to be side by side with Wyatt Thompson going into turn 1.
Thompson side by side for that P2 position. He's going to get the better run off the corner here. Will he clear? No. Still side by side with the 39.
And you got to think that's exactly what Quill wanted to happen, because last restart, Thompson also started right behind Jacob Quill. Catches the ball a little bit that time, but Thompson, being on the high side, being able to see when Quill goes, gives him a good advantage to possibly snag that second spot, even though he's starting back and forth.
And Thompson doing a good job on the restarts, really timing it with the leader. I don't know, maybe he's in communication with Jacob Quill. Obviously, 2 Chevrolet teammates. But regardless, really good jump for the 77.
Oh, and things got really tight through the 9th position. Wyatt Youngblood on the front straightaway nearly put the 48 of Tyler Helms in the outside wall. Quickly came on the radio, said that he was sorry for it, didn't mean to do that, but they just narrowly avoided a huge wreck right at the front of this field.
Ooh, Helms in the outside wall pretty hard. You'll see that one machine on the outside of the 87, Aiden Lucas, even with that damage, trying to fight for this top 10 position.
And damage doesn't matter as much here at Richmond, specifically aero damage. Something like you see on Aiden Lucas, where that front bumper is pushed in, dimpled like Christian said. It doesn't matter as much for a track where the speeds are this slow. If you were at somewhere like a Charlotte or an Indianapolis, oh, Wyatt Youngblood gets turned to the outside wall. No caution, but I gotta imagine that car has a ton of damage. I'm not sure exactly who got into him, but it may have been Tyler Helms.
We'll have to go back and take a look at this.
See if we can get a replay. And Youngblood is dropping. And remember, Youngblood and Helms had a little contact earlier, just a couple laps before this. You see Helms in the 48.
I'm getting a wall there. Helms in the 48, going to give him a shot. Once, twice, and into the outside wall.
And I can't believe why Youngblood's car isn't more damaged than it is. I'm honestly shocked that the right front is even still attached. He's dropping like a stone, but he's still rolling.
Yeah, unfortunate for Wyatt. Obviously, I mean, only that 48 will know if that was intentional or not. But I mean, Wyatt came over the radio, said, "Hey, I apologize. I didn't mean to put us in that situation." You figure they'd let bygones be bygones, but obviously Wyatt, the one who pays for that consequence.
And I think, Richmond provides a difficult turn 1 that a lot of tracks don't have. The entry, depending on what line you run, depends on where you have to brake. If you run a straighter entry on the bottom, you can maybe brake just a little bit later, but if you want to arc it on the top, you got to kind of be easy on that brake, because you don't want to be too heavy on that brake pedal while you're steering the car into the corner. So maybe Helms just didn't expect Youngblood to be on the brakes that early. It's hard to tell, and like you said, only Tyler Helms knows exactly what happened, but we can only speculate.
Get the 47 side by side. Aiden Lucas trying to get clear of the 47. You saw the 47 get a little bit sideways out of the corner, and then allowed to run from that 87 machine. To try to get clear, and he will.
And how have we not talked about the car he's going to the inside of right now? Oliver Quinney started in the 21st position, and he's currently battling for the 6th spot right now with Aiden Lucas. And what a drive out of that Ford 41 machine. Obviously, you can see the SHR Rush paint scheme on that Ford Dark Horse. And a lot of speed under that 41, characteristic of what we've seen all season for him.
Yeah, Oliver has always been... I feel like you kind of match him up with Aiden Lucas. doesn't tend to have the best qualifying runs, but always finds his way up to the front, and always a top 5 driver here. And it looks like he's going to get some really good stage points here, as long as he can keep this thing going straight here with this stage.
Yeah, and as Jacob Quill goes through 1 and 2, next time by it's going to be 11 laps to go in the stage, and he has a huge lead over Jordan Fisher, who has finally cleared Wyatt Thompson. But the top 5 or so are all spread out. Aiden Lucas is closing in on 5th place Gio Turpin as we speak.
And you have to give a huge shout out to Jacob. I mean, he has been the guy to beat, and you show it here time and time again, right? His one at the 1.5 mile speedway, his one at is now dominating here at the short track, one at the road course. I mean, what cannot this kid not do?
Yeah, and remember who started on his outside tonight? Joseph Smith. He has just entered the points-paying positions now for the stage break, and that's after he spun in second on lap 2 on the front straightaway. Went all the way to the back. There was no caution. Caution came a lap later, and he has charged to the front now, looking underneath Oliver Quinney.
Oliver Quinney going to try to defend here, coming to the line. This will be for the stage, I believe. No.
Lap 60, I believe.
Lap 60. My apologies. But you're going to see the 31 make the pass on this 41 machine. He's going to continue to charge through the field.
Oh, and Quinney doesn't give it to him that easily. Yeah, he looks to the inside there. The 31 is Smith, but he loses a ton on the exit. That's going to hold up Helms and now Nicholas Rode. We didn't see him last week, but he's back in that 3 machine, and he is trying to charge to the front.
Rode decided not to qualify, I believe. So, no, he qualified in P11. My apologies. So, sitting where he was, but obviously he's shown some speed out of that machine. Obviously, it was really quick.
Oh, no!
Quinney's going to get turned.
And Tyler Helms gets another one. And that's going to collect Kendorian Davis.
Caution is out.
Tyler Helms didn't look like he wanted to wait behind Oliver Quinney. Very aggressive with the bumper early on for that 48 machine.
We'll take a look with our chopper cam once again, our one and only. And we'll look here. 48, 1 bump, 2 bump, and turns the 41. Grabs the 88 of Kendorian Davis, nowhere to go.
Couldn't go any higher. 41, Oliver Quinney was all the way against the wall.
Well, and you think about this, right? The reason why these admins put on this incident limit was to, try to avoid some of this. And now we know that I think this 48 has to have it. That's probably his 3rd or 4th incident. I mean, I don't know when it comes to those types of wrecks, if it's a 2X or it's a 4X, but I mean, you got to think this 48 starting to rack up these XX limits.
Yeah, and drivers are in the pit lane now. Jacob Quill has come in, and Wyatt Thompson, Joshua Parent, they're going to stay out on the track. Now, I don't know, so obviously that is not our stage break. Points are paid out on lap 60, and I think we will go green before that happens. So a lot of these drivers that are running for the championship, such as Jacob Quill and the 39, are trying to just put themselves in a better position once that stage break caution inevitably happens on lap 60. I think it's going to be a 2 to 3 lap shootout once we go back green.
And so Quill, 39 at Fisher, Wyatt Youngblood decided to come down. But Wyatt Thompson, Joshua Parent, Nicholas Rode going to be your top 3. Wyatt Blair back there going to be top 4. They're going to try to capitalize and take the track position to get some stage points here.
Yeah, I like this call, especially from somebody like Thompson, who's shown a lot of pace, but he definitely needs the points. So get those 10 points from winning the stage, as long as he can hold on to it, and set yourself up. And obviously, he's still got a fast car, so we'll probably see him later on tonight towards the front. I don't think this completely takes him out of a chance at a win. I think it just gives him a chance for even more points.
Exactly. It's not like, what you see in real life with the Cup Series. We have 2 stages. We get this one stage on lap 60, and that gives him 140 laps to get back up to the front. We know he has the pace to contend here, and I think this is smart. Like you said, Peter, he's got the pace, hasn't had the luck to put together the finishes that he probably wants, and as long as he can hold on here, get that precious stage point and those 10 playoff points.
And Thompson's going to take a page out of the Jacob Quill restart book and go to the top side for this one. And it's going to be Joshua Parent on his inside with Nicholas Rode and Blair Saunders in the 3rd and 4th positions.
And that 47 has looked pretty racy as well. I think that 3 can show some really decent speed. Has been sitting right outside the top 10, but a lot of these guys are going to take advantage of the track position. You see the 51 and that 95 back there. Beekman and Tenold also back there inside the top 10.
Yeah, this is going to open up for a lot of points for drivers that could really use it. Green flag is back out. Wyatt Thompson gets the pedal down. Joshua Parent's going to try and hang with him going into 1.
And this time I'm going to drive it down there. Parent going to be clear, but side by side for the P3 position. The 98 going after the 3 machine.
Thompson, 3-car length lead over Joshua Parent. Nicholas Rode in a battle now with Blair Saunders. Behind him, it's Tenold and Beekman side by side. Tenold has finally gotten back up into the top 5 position after all that, and don't look now, but Jacob Quill has just made a 3-wide pass to the 9th spot.
Well, already moving his way up to there, and even with those freshies, he's already inside the top 10.
And here it comes. This is the end. He's going to rip the top around Andrew Tenold and into the wall. Big hit to the wall. That's the caution for the stage. Not caution for any incident. But Jacob Quill going to nab 5th, but maybe a lot of damage.
And Wyatt Thompson grabs your stage win. Good job by that 77 driver. Joshua Parent back there in P2. Good for him to hold on to that P2 position.
Yeah, Nicholas Rode 3rd, Blair Saunders 4th, Jacob Quill, like we said, 5th, Zachary Beekman 6th, Andrew Tenold 7th, Jordan Fisher 8th, Kiger in the 9th spot, and then Gabriel Goalie is going to get the final stage point.
Gabriel doing a good job getting that stage point. Shown flashes of speed throughout the season, but holds on for that last stage point. Remember, that's great for the 55. Every stage point, every point here when you get down to these playoffs are going to matter when it comes to locking yourself into the rounds here once we get into the playoffs.
I'm a little shocked as drivers start coming down pit lane not to see Jacob Quill come down. I'd be worried about that contact with the outside wall with Tenold. He got squeezed up into that wall pretty hard. A lot of smoke came off. A lot of just damage flew to the wind. So hopefully that 29 doesn't have much damage, but Jordan Fisher might be looking at it now as Wyatt Thompson into his pit box.
We'll see if we can look at this Jacob Quill machine and see if there's any damage on this car while we see your leaders take down pit road. See if this other camera we have can show maybe if that 29 has any damage on it. See Wyatt Thompson coming out. He's going to lead us off the pit road. It's hard to see for that 29 machine whether there is a lot of damage or not. Obviously, anybody's going to know it's going to be Quill, and he believes right now that the damage looks okay. It doesn't look that bad here on the TV cameras, at least. So, I mean, I think we got to trust that 29 with that judgment call there. But with that all said and done, Wyatt Thompson, after flipping the stage, comes out here in P11. Getting the stage 1 coming out P11, that can't be that bad for that 77 machine.
Yeah, definitely a good pit stop, and 11th is not as far back as he could have been. He's got a little bit of work to do, but he's definitely got the freshest tires out of anybody here. So it's going to be exciting to see that 77 charge up through the field.
Coming back to Quill, we'll be seeing what lane he decides to choose here on this restart to start stage 2 and the rest of the race. We've seen Quill pick the top throughout the whole race, and once again, he elects to run to start on the top here.
And I like it. It's worked for him so far. No reason to change it. If it broke, don't fix it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And Jordan Fisher now might have learned a little bit from the last time he was in this position, so maybe he can possibly stay with Jacob Quill a little better through the restart zone and fight him down into turn 1.
You have to see Gio Turpin back there in 3rd. We know he's going to be aggressive on the start. If Gio can even try to jump this, maybe help that 39 get up side by side with the race leader.
Yeah, Turpin's going to be fast. Quinney in the best spot he's been in all night. Dustin Hardy, he's up there in the 5th position in that 86 on the high side. Look for him to be able to make a move. Into the restart zone, Jacob Quill leads him down.
Another great jump. The third nice with his
no.
tires. Kendorian Davis, huge hit to the outside wall.
And that's going to be a yellow. Jordan Fisher, I think, missed a shift or something on that restart, and unfortunately stacks the whole field up. Kendorian Davis looks to have gotten the worst of it in the 88. He has not been able to catch a break tonight.
Take a look back at this restart. Kendorian sitting back there looks like what, in the P5 position. So he also elected to flip the stage, come down pit road before the stage comes out to try to get the track position for stage 2, and unfortunately it's bit for it. Yeah, just a 39 did not go. That's a surprise to see out of Jordan there. Looks like just spun the tires going into the box and backed up the whole bottom, and it's really hard as a driver to kind of gauge, oh, they're not going, and you see the 31 get in the back of the 88. Nothing that I really don't think that Smith could have done there in the 31 to not get in the back of him. I mean, you're going from full throttle to potentially like trying to stop on track. That's just super hard to ask anybody to try to react to.
That was a weird issue for Jordan Fisher. It looked like spinning tires and then possibly missed a shift because he wasn't even going by the start-finish line. Gio Turpin had gotten past him, and Turpin was doing everything he could not to pass him. So Jordan Fisher is going to lose a ton of spots in the span of less than half a football field down the front straightaway, and unfortunately is going to restart now in the 7th position, but I don't think has any damage.
Yeah, I guess that's the one break for the 39 machine. No damage. Looks like, you know, he was a person who caused the checkup, but got away unscathed. Obviously, we saw the 88 involved, the 90. I believe that was the 42 also get caught up in there. So a lot of fast cars. Fortunately, that's just the way it happens here with these restarts occasionally. You know, you're trying to be a little bit aggressive, trying to jump through leader, and fortunately a little bit of a mistake out of the 39.
And this has given a break to Oliver Quinney and Dustin Hardy. They've moved up to the 2nd and 3rd spot, and now they're going to get their shot at Jacob Quill. And we'll see what Quinney's going to be able to do. Obviously, he's going to be restarting on the inside line. There looks to be a little bit of damage on the right front corner of that 41. But it doesn't seem to be affecting him too much because a lot of speed under that Dark Horse Mustang hood.
Now I'm looking at Dustin Hardy back here, kind of the unknown up here in the top 3. Obviously, you see him in that, I believe that Steve Park throwback. Really nice looking car for him. But hasn't really been up here consistently up here in the top 3, but has shown a lot of pace here in these first 70 laps. Look for this 86 to maybe make something happen.
And now TJ Hanley has moved up into the 5th spot. Remember, we talked about him a ton at Charlotte. He was up front at the beginning of the race, got in some incidents. He was up front at the end of the race, and unfortunately was not able to really make a charge for the lead and get it away from Cristian Zarate. But a lot of speed for that 13 car so far this year, and he's continuing that trend here at Richmond.
And TJ normally in the 07, maybe just put on the wrong number, wrong scheme. Happens to the best of us, but going back into the Geico restart zone, Jacob Quill picks the bottom this time, but will lead us back to green.
Another great restart from Jacob Quill. Quinney now going to be under attack from Hardy as Hanley goes defensive of the 39 Machina. Jordan Fisher down into 1. Everybody filing behind Jacob Quill. Oh, and around goes Dustin Hardy. Oh, but another huge wreck behind him. The 48 machine of Tyler Helms went to the outside wall. He has a lot of damage on the right side of that machine.
We'll try to digest what just happened here. Obviously, we saw the 86 of Dustin Hardy go around. We'll, I guess, first look at that wreck.
Oh.
And then we'll look at that 48 machine. So we'll go back and take
Tyler Helms has brought his car. He has parked it on the backstretch and towed to the pits.
So you see the 86 get a little bit loose, and then the 46 go around. You see the 48. Oh, you see the one.
Save though.
See the one behind that machine is.
Oh. I do want to say Dustin Hardy's got it. Everybody who's watching got to give him a hand because what a save out of the 86. That is not something you're normally able to do in this style of NASCAR Cup car.
Once we get our timing and scoring back, we'll go back and look at that 84 machine. And I mean, that 48 machine. And I saw that one in proximity. I'm not going to say that's what happened. We'll have to definitely take a look back and see what happened to that 48. But we'll go back and look at Tyler Helms here through our replay system, see what happened. Going to the restart.
Now look who's behind him.
That's what I was eyeing at right now. That one obviously got dumped here. Oh no!
That is not him.
Yeah. And you see the once
Eli
again
McDonald.
this. I mean, cannot catch a break. That STP machine. Take a better look. I don't know if maybe who was that back there. That real tree machine.
81.
That's the 84 machine. I don't know if he came up or maybe the 48.
Ryan White, yeah. And you see Helms is charging around the top, and he kind of pinches on the exit of the corner, but White also slides up just a tad.
Yeah, I just think it's more of a racing deal, right? Obviously, the 48 has a lot of track to give, but obviously trying to get the pass done, and unfortunately the 84 nowhere he could go. And those two will come together, and here comes McDonald, nowhere to go for him once again. Right into the back end of this 48.
Yeah, and Helms is an aggressive driver. I think he was just trying to get past all that, the slower cars in the back and get towards the front again. And unfortunately, it ended with him in the wall, and I believe that's going to be race over because that is serious damage. But it's time to go back green as Jacob Quill currently paces the field down the back.
This will be... You see Quill on the 29, the 41 of Quinny, making his way back up into the P2 spot. And then look at that. DJ Hanley, Geo Turpin, going to be that second row as Quill chooses at the top. And we're green once again.
And Hanley gets a great restart behind Jacob Quill. He's going to charge for Quinny on the high side, and he's going to take it to Ching's second spot for TJ Hanley. Maybe he can charge Jacob Quill for the lead.
Hanley with a good run out of 1 and 2. A huge wreck is the 39 involved.
And Jordan Fisher's car just nosed into the outside wall.
We'll take a look once again. And just wreck after wreck. I mean, this is the aggressiveness that we've come to love here at Richmond, but we're not even halfway done.
Cautions do breed cautions.
Take a look. Jordan Fisher looking 3 wide. Here in the 1 and 2. See a spin in the back there.
Yeah. I believe that was Kiger. I heard Thompson apologize to Kiger for something.
Oh, man. Smith just gets in the back end of the 39. Oh, man. I just think that's awkward contact between the 42 and the 39. I think the 39 keeps it going straight, but the 42 just kind of...
He straightens them out, and the 39's got the wheel turned the other way, and it hooks.
Yeah, it just completely hooks. You see the 98 back there. We did see a wreck behind here as well. Before we saw this one come out, we saw someone spinning back here towards the back. We'll try to find what happened between that one as well.
Yeah, I believe Brandon Kiger in the 85 was that first wreck, down into 1.
It's like, oh, maybe the 77 got him a little bit. Looking 3. Yeah, 77 just got him a little bit. Good save out of the 85. Keep that thing straight. Oh. But yeah, 77, we've seen Wyatt be a little bit aggressive here on the starts, and just all right there. I mean, just barely, just enough, right, to get that 85 upset, and obviously you see the 39 up there, stopped up on the wall.
Well, and that's all it takes. And I know these drivers have 20 laps on their tires since they went green after the stage break, but a majority of those have been under yellow, so I think it's safe to say their tires are still pretty cold. So just a little bit of contact could get you upset. And I do have news, Tyler Helms is out of the session. He's left the track, so he is done for the day. and that is going to be a big points hit for a driver that we thought would be a challenger possibly for a win tonight.
We haven't got to talk about it yet, but looking at your points, we have your point standings right here on the screen for you guys. Jordan Fisher in at 39. It's going to be a huge point stay for him. Potentially was leading you points. Obviously got caught up in that wreck. Jacob Quill falls down to P2. Oliver Quinney, P3. Joseph Enright at P4 spot. Joe Turpin was up to 5th. Tyler Holmes, P6. Zachary Trevino down to P7 after missing last week. And you see the rest of the 16 on your screen.
Yeah, and Jacob Quill, I mean, he gained some of those points just by that stage. He finished 5th. So I think he about cut 5 points off there into that points lead of Jordan Fisher. And now with how the day has been going, if it keeps trending that way, Jacob Quill, it could take the lead back, but only time will tell as he goes green.
Another great jump by the 29 machine is EJ. Trying to hold on to that P2 position as here comes Oliver Quinney side by side. He's going to clear that 13 machine.
Yeah, and it's going to be a 3-wide battle down into turn 3 and 4. Hanley with, oh, and Tennell gets turned, and this is going to be a big wreck. Cars stack in on the front straightaway. Zarate, Kiger, Beekman. Oh, my goodness. Wow.
The huge wreck. You see Devin Galvin back there. And that's the big one here at Richmond. I mean, go back and take a look and see what happened to this 51. It looks like maybe got a little bit of help from someone.
And it sucks. This race started so well, and now we've seen multiple huge crashes since the stage. You're going to be watching Andrew Tennell in the 51.
Going into the restart zone now to start. I think there was a 3-wide maneuver between...
Ooh, Hanley gets really wide.
Handley, yeah, 3-wide Handley and Gio Turpin meeting the sandwich. Tries to give room, and oh man, just tight racing. And the 42 gets up in there and nowhere to go for a lot of these drivers. Oh my, there goes the 85. Kiger, the 73. McDonald again caught up in another one. See the 09, the 93. Just nowhere to go for a lot of these drivers. You see, I saw on the off screen here, Cristian Zarate actually gets through. He's had a quiet day, but this is exactly how he brought himself up into that win last week, was just being quiet, staying out of the way. That car looks pretty clean.
Yeah, especially for getting some contact there. Beekman's car looks pretty shot. He gave a hard T-bone hit to the passenger side door of Andrew Tennell. And I gotta imagine there's a lot of front-end damage on that 95 machine, and you see it there sitting in the pits. It is skewed out on the front, possibly a bent clip on the front end of that 95.
Go back and look at this far chase, just completely tore up, and a lot of these drivers, like we said, nowhere to go. That's what happens when you wreck up here in the top 5, especially on a short track like this, especially on a restart where everybody's bunched up. That's exactly what's going to happen every time that happens here at these tracks like Richmond and Iowa, where there's kind of nowhere to go. Everybody's bunched up, and when you see someone get hooked like that across the track, you know, a lot of the times if you do get spun down the track, you can kind of keep it down there, especially with that grass area. But when you're hooked up that quickly and that abruptly, there's no way that you can expect some of those drivers to react to that.
Yeah, all these wrecks happening behind Jacob Quill is making his job a lot easier. There's been some serious contenders getting taken out. Currently, Jordan Fisher 7 laps down, still sitting on pit road in the 39. He's in the 26th spot at this point. Andrew Tennell pulls out of the pits right in front of him, still with a lot of damage on all corners of that car. He went 1 lap down trying to get that damage repaired. So a lot of drivers currently struggling with damage, having to sit in the pits for a while and take those long repairs.
Yeah, I mean, that's just how it's going to be. I mean, and some of those hits, you know, we talked about it earlier in the show, that air damage isn't going to really affect it, but we saw some big hits there that probably will affect some suspension, some engine, you know, power, and that they're just going to have to limp it around. No fast repairs here for the Prestige Cup Series, so they're just going to have to try to get what they can out of here. But Jacob Quill, Oliver Quinney into the restart zone, a little bit of contact going to the green.
And Quinney gets the best start of the day out of anybody who started on the inside of Jacob Quill, but it's still not enough to keep him clear of Gio Turpin for the second spot. The $42 Tree Toyota on the high side, leading that top line, trying to clear Oliver Quinney down into 3.
Oliver Quinney drives it down into the corner in the 3 and 4. Going to try to clear the 42, but pinches his nose off barely. Going to take that P2 spot away as here comes TJ Hanley for that P3 position.
And Hanley follows right through. That was a ballsy move from Oliver Quinney going out of turn 4 to clear Turpin. It worked. Quinney obviously not shying away from getting on the edge out of turn 4. He's been kind of at the front of some of these big wrecks, and a lot of them have not really been his fault, but he's kept that car very clean. He sits in that second spot with TJ Hanley now passing Gio Turpin for the 3rd spot.
Hanley is showing his cards right now that he has probably a top 5 car here. Gets around and sitting in that P3 spot, but we do have a battle. Joseph Smith under attack, under 35, the number 3 of Nicholas Road.
Yeah, and Road looks to the bottom, can't make it work. Car's spun around on the front straightaway. Caution's gonna wave. Trying to see exactly who it is. Devin Galvin may have been at the front of that.
But Justin Wilkes around here in the grass.
Yeah, that will do it.
See what happened to this 93 machine. You see a lot of damage to that electrolyte machine. If he had some help, obviously see a lot of damaged cars back here. The 95, a lot of damage to 93. Got some left front damage. And
next lap, I think.
Continue to look at what happens here.
And I kind of believe it happened in front of him. Drivers, I heard on the radio saying somebody overcorrected.
Yeah, the 9. You see the 9 coming on the screen here. Oh, man. And the 9.
Oh, that's bad.
So we'll go back and look at Devin Galvin here in this 9 machine.
That is a really bad spot to get spun around. And once these cars get sideways, it's hard to get the power back down to straighten them out. We're going to see if we can see how this started.
The 9 here and the 85. It just kind of drives it into the corner there. Yeah. And the 9. Oh, and the, damn, I don't know if that was even contact. I think once again, talked about it before, Netcode might have grabbed that 93. But
yeah. And you know, a lot of people at home might be looking at Galvin and saying, why didn't he just keep it on the apron there? But when you're going that speed and the car's sideways, once it hits the flat part of the apron, some of your wheels lose some grip and it's going to shoot it back the other way. So Galvin just trying to save the car and then hits the flat of the apron and it sends it back up the track. And unfortunately, the 93 of Justin Wilkes was a victim of netcode there.
Yeah, and the way I always think of it is it's for the fans at home. You think about it when we call it the car unloads off the apron, right? Think about it like when you're bouncing on a trampoline, right? When you hit that trampoline, you got to go somewhere, right? And that's exactly how that car was there on the apron, right? It unloaded, the shocks and the suspension kind of unloaded on the track, and the car had to unload and take that energy somewhere else. And unfortunately, the car wanted to turn right there, and unfortunately, if you want to call it, tagged the 93, even though that 93 was a victim of netcode here on the sim.
Yeah, and really unfortunate. That 9 machine, a very beautiful Ray Evernham throwback, but pace car lights are going to be off once again, and as we ease towards the halfway mark of this race, Jacob Quill still continues to lead. He's led the majority of it so far.
The 3 coming up there, maybe a little bit confused about where he's supposed to start, but we're going to have to figure this out sooner or later. Looks like he's going to go back there, tuck into the 3rd row, maybe trying to give Jacob Quill maybe some information. Maybe Jacob Quill thought he had some damage of some sort. You know, you see teammates do that a lot. But tucks back into the 3rd lane. And you see the pace car work that hard left. Is Jacob Quill, Oliver Quinney, going to lead us back to the green once again.
Quill gets the power down like usual, clears the inside row, gonna try and bring Turpin with him. It's deja vu of the last restart. This time Turpin with a much better advantage now as they come out of turn 2. The run is on the top with the 42 machine.
Turpin really doing well on the top here, making the momentum work. You're going to see him still side by side out of turn 3 and 4.
Hanley! Through the grass. Saves it. Loses a ton of spots, but what a save.
Yeah, good for him to keep it off the track, keep it in those merger safely. Oh, a big one!
Oh, no! Youngblood hard on the inside wall. The 7 machine of Enright, I believe, also involved in that one.
Wow. Gander, what happened? I guess that's good news for TJ Hanley. He kind of backed out of that while he could. But we're looking at this one car.
He's had a rough day.
See what happened here. Oh, wow, a Geo Turpin.
Turpin! We didn't even catch that.
Turpin off the bumper of the 3 machine.
Oh, man.
And he is parked in the middle of the track. Really not. Oh, he gets tagged, I think, by the 88 of Kentorian Davis, then by the 9. And nowhere to go. I mean, he is parked right in the middle of the track.
That is a hard hit.
Right in the middle of the track.
Took a couple hard hits.
I mean, this is like the worst thing that could have possibly happened. Obviously, he got dumped by the 3. And then right here comes the 88 to kind of change his trajectory. I think he was really just trying to get off the track.
Well, you know, I think Nicholas Road there, I don't think that obviously wasn't intentional. I think he was just going for a dive, and Turpin leaves the door open. And I think if you're Nicholas Road, you almost got to go for that gap. You're still on the restart. This is your best chance to make up spots. As we've seen, as it goes on, it always starts to spread out. So Road maybe just going for a move. Turpin shuts the door when Road's already committed to the spot. And 2 cars going for the same piece of track. Didn't quite work out. And a huge wreck down the back.
And that takes out a lot of fast drivers. We obviously the one of Youngblood, who's shown a lot of speed, just has not caught a break. Geo Turpin, obviously. Really. Yeah, all season. Geo Turpin obviously showed a lot of pace. And I think he was probably, besides Youngblood, probably the guy who got the most damage out of that. Got tagged probably 4 or 5 times. Nowhere, not really anything he could do. Locked it down, hoping that people would avoid, and unfortunately people just could not negotiate around that stopped car. Brandon Kiger, obviously, involved in some wrecks. Jordan Fisher, though, still out here, 10 laps down. Gonna try to limp this car around. Obviously, his chance at racing for a win is over.
Ooh. Jacob Quill takes the bottom this time. Geo Turpin, I just want to go back to him for one quick moment and add something that he had a serious shot to win last week in Charlotte. He had incredible speed, the best speed we've seen out of him all year long. Unfortunately, was not able to beat Cristian Zarate, and it looked like maybe today he was going to get some redemption, but I doubt he's going to be much of a competitive car now with all the damage.
We'll see. It looks like decided to bring that car back out. It's going to be sitting there P18, but a lot of damage to that 42. But once again, Quill, the 41 and the 29, back in the restart zone, back green from Richmond.
And Quill takes the bottom, and it's his teammate Nicholas Road behind him. I think that's why he did it. Road quickly takes the second spot away from the 41 of Oliver Quinney. So now it's Quill Speed Performance 1-2 with the Ford of Quinney behind, under attack from Aiden Lucas.
Quinney with the huge dive down in the bottom in the 3 and 4 side by side for the P2 position. I think give it to the 41 at the line.
Yeah, and I think Quinney's car fires off better than Rhodes does. Rhodes just looks a lot worse out of the corner and in. Maybe he's a little better center, but Oliver Quinney's car seems to just roll around the track a lot better than the 3 machine, because now that Chevrolet is dropping back into the hands of the 87 of Aiden Lucas. Now with a clean nose on that Chevrolet, he's going to take the 3rd spot away.
And Aiden, once again, gets a little bit of a bump from the 3 as the 3 starts to blink out there. Aiden, once again, showing that he's kind of the Mr. Where did he come from candidate every race. Was obviously racing up here inside the top 10. Has snuck his way up into the top 3. Got around the 3 machine of Nicholas. I'm going to try to run down this 41 machine.
Yeah, and I think it's almost time that we take Aiden Lucas off the where did he come from list and just say here he is, because he has shown so much pace the last couple weeks. And in front of him, Oliver Quinney has closed in on the back bumper of Jacob Quill. Might even look to the bottom. We've seen Quinney's car be really good on entry. Let's see if he goes for it.
They try to make it work at the quarter. Gonna not be side by side. Yes, he will. But with the 87 this time.
Well, now, and this is the first time, really, since Jordan Fisher tried to make it work that we've seen anybody try to go after Jacob Quill. But once again, Quill uses the top side and defends it quickly. Now holds a half a car length lead over the 41.
And if you're Quinney, you have to think, okay, I had my attempt here. Do not use your stuff up here to try to get back. Obviously, now you see him under attack from the 87. He's in the wall. Able to clear here with the momentum off the top. I just have to reset, right? Pull those tires back off.
Around. Gabriel Goli just spun around in turn 3 and 4. Caution's going to wave. He got it right back around. There was another car involved. But we're going to go back under yellow.
With the 55. Racing out here. It's like outside the top 10.
Yeah, Goldie's had a strong car all day. Remember, got stage points.
TJ looking. Gets into the wall here.
And remember, Hanley's going to be hard pushing to get to the front after that mistake. An incredible save, but it mired him so far back.
TJ looking. Just drifts up, gets the 55 there.
Oh, and then nowhere to go for him. I mean, kind of just got stuck to the 55's door.
Yeah, I mean, we thought, you said it there perfectly, Peter. I mean, TJ trying to be aggressive. He's shown he's got a top 5 car. Made a mistake there on the restart. Gonna drive through the field. Unfortunately, tagged the 55. And around he goes to bring out another caution.
Yeah, and that's rough for Gabriel Goli because the car was pretty clean up until that point, and once again, he showed a ton of speed, and that's obviously not what Hanley meant to do. I think he just got in a little deep, and then trying to get the car slowed down, slid up in the center of the corner and made contact. But unfortunately, that's kind of how this night has gone for a lot of drivers.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the way the cookie crumbles. I mean, that's just the way this race has started to emerge as, right? We had to put a solid, what, I would say 30, 40 laps of really good green flag racing, and then going to the end of stage 1, we started to get some cautions, and unfortunately, as you said earlier in the broadcast, Peter, cautions breed cautions, and the aggressiveness is just going to continue to pick up as we continue to run laps here.
Yeah, and Christian, I think something that we didn't realize up until now, our race control, JJ Moore, is actually handing out EOLs for drivers that have caused incidents in this race. This is something we haven't seen up until this race here at Richmond. So TJ Hanley got handed an EOL for being at fault for that incident. But this whole race, that has been happening, and our wonderful race control of JJ Moore, once again, he's been doing a great job policing this field so far.
Yeah, now that the drivers know that, hey, if you cause a mistake, we have someone up here that's going to take a look at it and give you a penalty, right? You, at least coming into the next week and then the weeks on, you think that will, force some drivers to be a little bit more patient, or at least, be a little bit more, to think about the moves they're going to make before they just go down there and drive it in there and accidentally get into someone.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see that. I know, Christian, me and you have called leagues and been in leagues that have done that in the past, and it's worked fairly well, so I'm excited to see that come to the Prestige Racing Series, and hopefully, as this race goes on, it'll clean up some of the racing, but Jacob Quill has pretty much been the cleanest all night because he hasn't left that top spot in a hot minute. Jacob Quill choosing the top on this restart.
Quill, Oliver Quinney once again leading us back to green to start lap 112. Once again, a great jump out of the 29. Quinney trying to make that bottom lane work.
Yeah, and that time, Quill takes the top side with Road behind him, so he's pretty much just picking whatever's going to help his teammate the most. But Quinney fends off Road that time. And now he's going to try and close in on the back bumper of Jacob Quill. He did it on the last restart. Let's see if he's got the tires to do it this time.
The 87 try to get around the 3 machine. The 3 machine has to run off the top, though. Trying to go side by side. A little bit upset out of the 87 machine, but still side by side for the P3 position. But the 41 starting to slowly reel in your race leader.
Yeah, and Quinny, you can see the difference in the lines that he's running. A little lower out of turn 4, trying to get some air so the car can rotate. And now as he follows in behind Jacob Quill, closes in on that back bumper. You can see that right front damage, but it doesn't seem to really be affecting him too much. And he still has a ton of speed as he dives down into turn 3.
Now, I think Jacob is a little bit better in 1 and 2, but I think Quinny a little bit better in 3 and 4. And that's the unique dynamic I like about these short tracks here, is that you can have a driver that's a little bit better than you in one corner, and then you can just reel them back into the next. And you really just have to, you know, get to work and try to learn how you can be better here than that other driver.
Yeah, and with 85 laps to go, I almost think that Oliver Quinny is just trying to feel out his options and see what he has. Maybe not quite going for the pass yet on Jacob Quill, but seeing where Quill is vulnerable, and I think he's finding those points. Like you said, 3 and 4, Quinny seems better. He closes in on the back bumper a lot on entry, and he seems to, most of the laps, not that one, pinch it really well on that yellow line on the bottom. But Quill seems just a tad bit better over in 1 and 2.
Yeah, I feel like 1 and 2 has always been a more technical corner versus 3 and 4, where you can kind of drive it in and kind of feel it out. I feel like, you know, if you want to push the car a little bit harder, you can be rewarded in 3 and 4 for that, versus 1 and 2, where you have to be a little bit more technical, where you kind of have to set up the corner a little bit more to the fact of trying to set up for the exit versus just trying to drive it in and hope it sticks. 3 and 4, obviously, it's a little bit wider, it's a little bit less shallow. You can kind of drive it in and kind of push the car a little bit harder, and I think that's why Quinny is a little bit better. I think Jacob just doesn't want to push that car as hard as that 41 is.
Yeah, Quinny seems very confident with that brake pedal, and it seems like that 41 can really gain a lot on the entry and not give as much up on exit. Normally, it's kind of a one or the other. If you want to have a lot on the entry, you're normally going to give some up on the exit. But in 3 and 4 especially, Oliver Quinny seems to be really good on both sides of the corner. Maybe Quill's just a little better in the middle, getting that 29 machine to roll. But obviously, Quinny, if he needs to, he's got the brakes to make a dive on Quill if he gets the opportunity.
Quinny's got to quit worrying about looking out the front. I mean, he's got the 87A, and Lucas now starting to run him down, as the 41 looks like he might be starting to fade just a little bit compared to that 29 and that 87.
Yeah, and as this race goes on, you're starting to see different drivers that are taking their shots at Jacob Quill. Soon, I think we're going to get to see Aiden Lucas maybe have a shot at the 29, because that 87 has been extremely fast. Last time by, he was the fastest car on track. 21.9 last time by. Nobody else was even in the 21s. So the 87, a lot of speed right now for that Chevrolet.
I feel like the 87 has always been one of those drivers, like you said earlier in the show, that always sets that car up for the long run, right? Doesn't want to push too hard, but will slowly and methodically work his way through the field here. As you now see him looking to the bottom of the 841, side by side out of 3 and 4. You can see the 41 in the wall, but I think you're not going to see a lot of fight out of this 41. I think he knows that the 87's a little bit better right now. As there goes 87 of Aiden Lucas.
Yeah, and let Aiden Lucas get up there and maybe make a charge at Jacob Quill. And if they can get side by side, maybe Lucas will get the opportunity that Quinny didn't quite have, and it could bring the 41 back into it. It could also bring Wyatt Thompson into the fight, because he's consistently been a top 5 car, not only this week, but last week as well. That 77 machine seems to be very, very fast right now and very confident on both ends of the racetrack.
Yeah, Wyatt's always been up here in the top 5, top 3 conversation. Just can hope that he can finish this thing out. You know, he looked really quick last week at Charlotte, got caught up in a wreck within the closing laps. Obviously, you can say that. I would say, though, for most of the season, the 77 has been up here in the top 5, had a chance to win a couple races, has been caught up in some wrecks out of his doing. And right now, sitting back here in the P4 position, looks like he's slowly running down this 41 car to put himself into P3, as we have a battle behind here. Joseph Smith trying to look underneath the 3 machine.
And Smith started on the outside pole position, had that mistake early on, has had to charge through the field, and that 31 Exalta Chevrolet has been on an absolute tear through this top 10, and now he's going to try and peek into the top 5. It's going to be exciting to see because obviously qualifying trim, he was the only one who really had anything for Jacob Quill, but in race trim, he seems to be a little bit off compared to that 29 machine, so maybe if he can get some clean air on the nose, we'll see him pick up some lap times.
And obviously finding with this 3 machine, Nicholas Road, obviously teammate with Jacob Quill. Even if he has a doubt in his mind that this 31 could go down and race down his teammate, he's going to try to, you know, fight this 31 as much as he can to slow him up, to get him out of the groove, to get him out of, you know, out of rhythm, right? And obviously this 3 not going to pull over. He's going to fight this 31 as hard as he can for this P5 position.
And he can fight the 31 so he doesn't catch Jacob Quill, but Aiden Lucas is somebody he can't fight because Lucas, in that second spot, has closed in on the back bumper of Jacob Quill. He's only about a car length and a half, maybe 2 on the exit of turn 2 off of the back bumper, and he has got a lot of pace. These last couple laps he's closed in. The last one was not as good. It was like as soon as we started talking to him, as we switched to him, he lost some time there, or maybe Jacob Quill picked up the pace as the 87 closed in on him.
Something that I love about this 87 is he's willing to give up some of the corner to just keep it rolling down there on the bottom, and that is how you save tires here in this next-gen car. You see that he's a little bit lower than Quill, giving up a little bit of time, but not really trying to push the car right now. I mean, we still have 70 laps to go here at Richmond. We know if we go green here, we're going to have another pit stop or 2. You see him right there, just not trying to push it out of the corner, just trying to get there the best he can.
Yeah, and with the field pretty spread out, I think this could be a good time to run through the field and see where your favorite driver is currently at. And currently in the P1 spot, and he's been there pretty much most of the day, Jacob Quill in the 29. It's your second place in points. He led a lot of points earlier in the season and got a couple wins, and he has been leading this field.
To the 87, Aiden Lucas back there. We just talked about him trying to run down your race leader. You're going to have to negotiate around this lap car of Wyatt Youngblood. But having a really good run for him back there in the P2 spot. Looks like he might have something for this 29 if he can get him back down.
Wyatt Thompson in the 3rd position. He just passed Oliver Quinney for it, and he's had a lot of speed. An aggressive driver, but when he wants to go for it, he's not afraid to take the charge, and he has now taken that 3rd spot.
You have Oliver Quinney back here in the 41 in this meeting, this 4-car sandwich here. Quinney showed a lot of speed here early in this run, but starting to show a little bit of fall off here as he's actually starting to get some pressure from a P5 driver of Joseph Smith.
Yeah, and Smith started on the outside pole position in the 31, had the mistake early, he's charged to the back up to that top 5 position, and he puts pressure on Quinney. As
you see that battle for the P5 position, we have Nicholas Road back here in P6 looking at this battle ensuing. Nicholas didn't have the best qualifying spot. Started back there in P11, but has slowly driven his way back up here into P6. Lost a couple spots on the restart, but is still back up here right around this top 5 area.
In the 7th spot, it's Kendorian Davis. We saw him have that big wreck on the restart where he got into the outside wall out of the misfortunes of Jordan Fisher, but he's charged back up into the top 10, and that 88, he's not afraid of the speed. He's got a lot of speed. He had a good car at Charlotte, and he has another one here today in Richmond.
Sitting back there, P8, a little bit off this front pack. Alex Krasinski, the 72, we saw him get caught up in a couple of wrecks, so you see some burn-in damage to that machine, but look at that. Low was 25th, all the way back up here into the P8 spot. Good run for the 72.
Blair Saunders currently holds the 9th spot. He's been involved in some big accidents tonight, but he's had a lot of speed. That Toyota has been very fast. It's an unconventional paint scheme, more of a sports car style scheme than you'd see on a stock car, but it is beautiful, and he's currently in the 9th position.
And rounding out your top 10 here, Andrew Tenold. We've seen him being plentiful of wrecks here tonight, but see a little bit of rear end damage on that 51 throwback machine. We saw this machine at Darlington where he also had a couple of scuffles, but back there in the P10 spot. Obviously, has had an up and down day. You see him low as 25th, but up here rounding out your top 10.
Yeah, behind him, Gabriel Ngoli's had a really good day as well. And he's not quite in our race rundown. He's not quite in that top 10, but he's been fighting for it. And I think it needs to be mentioned, the speed he's had today, because we haven't really talked about it much this season, but a ton of good that has come out of this race, even though he was involved in that last incident. I mean, you got to remember that. He was involved in an accident probably less than 30, 40 laps ago, and he's in the 11th spot right now, and with very minimal damage, he seems to be able to possibly put together a good points day.
And running around the same pace as everybody else around him, trying to run down that 51 machine, and then obviously that 51 has the 98 just up the road, so if he can continue to put some laps together, it's definitely not over for this top 10 run for the 55.
Yeah, and back up front, Jacob Quill has pulled out a huge lead, 1.3 seconds over Aiden Lucas. And the lap times that Quill is running is about 0.2 faster than the whole rest of the field. So he's pushing the car now. Maybe Aiden Lucas burned his stuff up a little bit, trying to run down that 29. But it also comes with the cost that now Jacob Quill is catching this lap traffic. And this is really going to start to slow the lap times down there. The last lap, he was a 22.4. This lap, 22.6. And as he comes to the line, he's probably going to be about in the same realm because he had to pass the 9 machine. And it's a 22.7, so even slower. Aiden Lucas was actually faster that lap.
Well, this is, classic Jacob Quill. We think that, oh, okay, he's getting ran down by someone. Maybe this might be the time where you start to see someone get side by side with the 29. And then he starts to push, and he starts to just get this lap time out of thin air. But now as we see him battle some of this lap traffic, this is where Aiden Lucas can capitalize, right? And for a lot of these drivers that are on the lead lap, they are going to try to fight a little bit to stay on the lead lap. But, and luckily for Aiden, right, usually the kind of unspoken rule is if you get a lap down and Jacob Quill gets around you, once the guy behind in second and third, you usually just let him go because obviously you're not fighting. Yeah, you already lost your lap. So Jacob Quill, for the most part, is going to have to do the heavy lifting to get around these guys. But still, even after that, continuing to still run faster laps, even having to negotiate around some of this lap traffic.
Yeah, and a lot of these guys have kind of let Quill go, but he's catching some cars that have speed. Like, he passed Gio Turpin a couple laps ago, and if Turpin really wanted to, he probably could have made Jacob Quill's day a lot more difficult. So if he catches somebody who's maybe a little more aggressive, maybe wants to fight it a little more, that could fall right in Aiden Lucas's hands, because that is going to be the difficulty. If these guys get out of the way, Jacob Quill can still set lap times that are faster than the rest of the field. But if he gets somebody who's running lap times that are similar to him, it could make it very difficult for him to navigate lap traffic.
Exactly. I mean, you put it right on the dot there, and I think it's more of a respect thing. Obviously, everybody knows that Jacob's quick. Jacob hasn't really done, a lot of things to put him in the bad limelight. He hasn't really dumped anybody for a win here, at least in this series. He didn't, have to do something like what Zarate did for his win. He's just been outright faster. And when you clean and you get around everybody really nicely, they'll give you the benefit of the doubt. They'll pull over if you're the leader versus with someone maybe like the 48 of Helms or like Zarate from last week, right? They're going to race you a little bit harder, but Jacob Quill has been very respectful since the drop of the green flag at Daytona, right? And he knows he's quick, and he knows that he's raced with respect, because I think he's going to come down to start the green flag pit cycle here.
It's good to finally see some green flag pit stops. Aiden Lucas is going to stay out on the track, and he's going to keep going. I think, though, this is going to start forcing everybody else down, because once the quickest car on the track comes in, you almost have to, because now not only are you going to be running slower lap times by 0.2 or so, but Jacob Quill on those fresh tires, he could be running lap times that are almost a second quicker, especially with the wear that this track produces as Aiden Lucas comes down into the pits.
I'll hand your race lead over to Wyatt Thompson as here he comes. Everybody down pit road.
Yeah, and they're a lap behind Jacob Quill, so Quill, when he comes out, is going to have those tires a little more heated up. He's out of the pits now. Jacob Quill, as more drivers start to come in. Wyatt Thompson finding his pit box. Aiden Lucas, one of those as well. As the tires, as the right and left sides go up on that 87 and 77 machine, they're going to be looking to make as much out of these fresh tires as they can.
We continue to see drivers coming in and out of pit road. And Dorian Davis right now, your leader. But he will have to come out.
Yeah, and he has come out, or actually, Aiden Lucas has come out, and he is currently ahead of Jacob Quill. And he's jumped him by a large margin.
Like Aiden Lucas, a 9-second stop versus Jacob Quill's 14. I'm thinking that maybe this 87 took fuel only.
Or two, maybe. You know, that obviously the tires, well, I don't even know. The fuel is what would take the longest out of all of these. You almost, if you're taking a full tank of gas, even with the 70%, I almost think it's still beneficial to take 4. But I don't know. We'll see as the lap times start to click in. Jacob Quill with his tires heated up. He's running about 0.4 faster right now than Aiden Lucas. And as Lucas is coming up on some lap traffic of Turpin, it's going to make it a little more difficult for those tires to get under him. Quill, though, still more work to do today than he's had to do this whole race.
I mean, you see this 87 up the road right here. But within striking distance, and obviously, if he did take 2, if he took 0 tires, right? Jacob Quill took 4. So, I mean, it's kind of inevitable. I mean, I'm interested to see how long this 87 can hold on.
Yeah, Lucas with a very good pit stop to get him out in front, and that's almost what you need because it has been kind of track position a lot of the day. Jacob Quill has had that track position, and when anybody tries to fight him, kind of runs a lane up. Oh, the 9 car is going to spin down the front straight away. Hopefully this doesn't bring out a caution into the middle of green flag pit stop, says Devin Galvin. He keeps it rolling, so no yellow this time. Aiden Lucas, I'm sure, is really happy that that happened, that was not a yellow.
Precisely, as you see him come up to the back of the 7 machine. Aiden Lucas is, I mean, obviously, you got to be thinking that he's telling everybody or hoping everybody will just get out of the way because he cannot be afford to be held up, and he wants them to race Jacob Quill and just let him go.
And I think, you know, if Quill were to get to Aiden Lucas, I almost don't even think Quill is going to have to push his car too hard with those fresher tires. Sure, it's going to be something else to pass him compared to getting to him. But Aiden Lucas, as this run goes on, it's going to start to take away some of those tires, and the caution is going to wave on the back straightaway. Wyatt Youngblood, one of those cars. And there goes your lead, and that might be a killed strategy for Aiden Lucas. These 2 tires might not fare too well now.
Go back and take a look at Youngblood. Already see a lot of damage to this one machine. Gotten caught up in several incidences throughout the race. Looking to the back end of the 42. Gonna make this pass look pretty easy. I think this is where we see the issue is right here out of turn 2. Huh? Maybe next lap.
Oh my goodness, and I know we're watching the replay, but Dorian Davis, who was the leader coming into that pit, just drove past his pit box.
That's unfortunate for that 88. I mean, this was a free pit stop for this 88 machine. But you see him now.
He drove past it and then back down pit lane, but he was 5 or 6 boxes down once he realized.
And that's... I mean, you don't make those kind of mistakes a lot. I mean, you've seen it happen in real life occasionally, but on the sim, I mean, you get a countdown, you get everything here, just like in real life with the spotter and the crew chief and stuff. But huge mistake out of the 88 there. But I think he's gonna come out of here P8.
Yeah, that is rough. I mean, he could have been even better. I mean, he came out, so actually, it doesn't look like he lost too much, which is extremely fortunate for him. but he could have been in front of a couple cars here, and he definitely would have been the first car with the freshies if he had actually completed the pit stop successfully and come out in front of, I believe, Alex Kosinski was the car behind him once they entered, and Cristian Zarate has also gotten a couple spots here.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting. Andrew Tenold, Cristian Zarate going to be your first two out of pit road here. And then you have Lucas Quill and Joseph Smith, all with around 10-ish laps on these tires. At least since they pit, I definitely think Aiden Lucas has more tire wear on either the lefts or rights compared to Quill and Smith.
Yeah, and Aiden Lucas takes the bottom, Jacob Quill on the high side. Now Lucas's lead that he had, the advantage with those two tires, is just gone like that. That's how quick it can change. But like Christian said, watch Andrew Tenold. Tenold, the first car on the fresh tires. He's gonna be on the charge. It's only gonna be 37 or so laps to go into the restart zone. Aiden Lucas gonna lead him down for the first time today.
Aiden Lucas with a good jump. Jacob Quill going to try to use that top lane to go. Aiden Lucas. Good launch out of 1 and 2. Jacob Quill. Then back there in P2. Trying to be cordial.
Almost into the back bumper.
He gets him.
Oh, no.
Jacob
Oh, my goodness. Uh-oh. That's a bad spot. Oh, man. Well, Christian, you know how you said Jacob Quill hasn't done anything to upset drivers?
We're going to have to eat those words now, aren't we? I mean, I don't think, obviously, Quill meant to do that. I mean, it looks like he was trying to be cordial, and I just think the 87 just kept having to almost kind of park it with the old tires here compared to Quill, and finally Quill just couldn't get off of him, it looked like, almost, and unfortunately, once again, it looked like actually really bad netcode from that secondary contact. I think once again that poor SDP paint would have still got the 87, but I think White, I think Wyatt in that 77, I think Wyatt Thompson barely squeaks by there with no damage. You see cars spinning out in the back there.
He hit a hard hit the outside wall. That is so rough. Aiden Lucas, man, he's been pretty much the only driver who's been able to take it to the lead past Jacob Quill, and sure, he got it on strategy, but I am sure that is not how Jacob Quill wanted to get the lead back from him. I'm a little shocked to see that happen, and like you said, I don't think that was on purpose.
Quill's shown to be really patient when it comes to getting around cars that are a little bit slower than him, and obviously we knew that 87 was going to be just a little bit off pace just due to strategy, right? Obviously, he had a significantly slower pit stop, which means he did something different compared to that 29. We know that 29 does not make mistakes, especially down pit road. And even looking back at there, 14.2 second stop, 39.5 combined time down pit road. That is normal, 4 laps and fuel pit stop. So no mistakes out of the 29 that give that 87, the lead during that green flag run. So we knew that 87 was going to be slow from the pit strategy, and Jacob trying to be cordial just looks like it's barely gotten it back in at 87. When you have old tires like that, it makes it so much easier to get the car back out from underneath you, just from even just that little bit of contact you saw from the 29.
And I do want to say we've been kind of tracking it all race. Eli McDonald has hit that 25x incident limit, and I believe is DQ'd from the race. And he is not a happy camper right now over the chat, but unfortunate for him because we saw him caught up in pretty much every wreck, and it didn't look like really any of them he had an option. It seemed like he was out of it, and Jacob Quill has given an EOL penalty. Jacob Quill to the back of the field.
And that'll hand your race lead over Joseph Smith. He was outside front row on qualifying, and Cristian Zarate back up here is going to be on this front row.
Yeah, and we are 1 to green, and the broadcast currently is showing a replay, I believe. But Jacob Quill gets sent to the back. That is big time. Wow, this is about to change a lot. I don't know if Quill's got enough time to get to the front, especially with all the contact that we've seen throughout the back half of the field. But Cristian Zarate on the high side of Joseph Smith. I can't believe Cristian Zarate might have a chance to go for 2 in a row.
53-31, Chevy front row. Ford and Toyota in that second row, but Cristian Zarate, Joseph Smith back to green.
And Zarate got a big shove from Tenold on the restart and kind of had to lift so he didn't get the penalty for passing Joseph Smith. Smith on the bottom. Zarate on the high side. Zarate saying he got a penalty for that. We're going to see if they decide to clear what race control is going to do about that. But I doubt Zarate's going to come in until he is either forced to or that penalty is cleared. And it is cleared. So Cristian Zarate's going to get to keep the second spot. Joseph Smith, your outside pole sitter, has taken the top spot, and he's driving away. Tenold gets turned in the back. Couple cars go around. Gio Turpin.
Nicholas Road.
Yellow.
Gio Turpin caught up in another one, man. Just has not had, ever since he got contact from, ironically, that car right beside him, that race is just falling apart for that number 42 machine. You see the 3 in the back of the 84. I don't think that was anything out of malice, but we'll go ahead and take a look back at your replay here. Just to see where this starts. Like the 51. It looks like just a stack up, maybe.
Kendorian Davis. I mean, we talked about him. Remember, he had that mistake on the pit stop. He looks to the inside of Tenold here. And Tenold comes down, and Davis's nose is just barely there. And that is, we've seen it kind of all night. That has been a classic thing. And Turpin was on the other end of that last time. And unfortunately, he's going to get caught up in this one again.
Like a 77 might have a little bit of right front damage, but I don't think anything to hurt that machine. You see Nicholas Rowe down on the bottom, just self-spin. Trying to get around here, but yeah. We've seen it out of the 51 before with Andrew, you know, trying to drive it down in there, and unfortunately the 88 was there, clips him, and luckily for the 51, he saves it, keeps it going, but not lucky for that 42 and everybody else behind him involved.
Yeah, and we'll see what race control decides to do on this one. And that's going to be a big decider because a lot of drivers over the radio are trying to decide about whose fault that is. Andrew Tenold saying it was a racing incident. Kendorian Davis maybe not quite feeling the same way. But obviously we'll see what JJ Moore up in race control decides to do with that one.
Well, with all that said and done, you know, Jacob Quill back here in 9th, it looks like he's going to come down and take tires.
I don't dislike that call. I mean, at this point, there's a lot of cars wrecked, so pitting, you're not going to lose a ton. You're probably going to be about, at the worst, you're probably going to be about 13th. That's where Dustin Hardy is. He's the first car not a lap down, it looks like, according to my timing. So, I mean, Quill's got the speed. Does he have the time, though?
Interested to see. I mean, we should be getting the white one to go here, as we are. So we'll be going back in with 25 laps to go. Will we restart around the P? It looks like P7-ish area.
And Andrew Tenold has been given an EOL penalty by JJ Moore. That is for the cause of that incident. So anybody who's watching, that is what race control has decided. So Andrew Tenold, who was going to start second on the outside row, is now going to have to restart at the back of the whole entire field.
Uphill into the longest line for the 51, but the pace car off. 31, 53, going to go at it one more time. We get ready to get back into the restart zone.
Complete new cast of characters up front. Joseph Smith with a Jacob Quill-esque restart clears Zarate on the high side, and he's going to have clean air going down into 1 and 2.
Ooh. See, Zarate going to cross him over, going to try to get side by side here in the 3 and 4, and he will.
Yeah, Smith got really high out of the exit of 1 and 2. Quill's ripping the top. You can see that 29 in the back. Fresh tires. He's just taken 5th from Gio Turpin. I think he's got plenty of time to get there if he wants it. And Joseph Smith, though, currently holding off Cristian Zarate.
Thompson back there. Oh, barely gets away from the 29, and now the 29 continuing to wrap the wall here. Going to get side by side with the 77 for this pole position and give it to Quill.
And he stays on the high side. I mean, this is just Jacob Quill for you. You don't see any other driver really able to work the top like he is, and he has passed a ton of cars. Remember, he pitted on the last caution. He's up to third 4 laps after the restart, and now he's on the back bumper of Cristian Zarate, who's losing ground to Joseph Smith.
Zarate going to try the top lane. Is Quill going to easily clear that 53, and he's going to go after that 89 machine, or the 31 machine.
And that is not what Smith wants to see. He did not expect to see Quill in his mirror that quickly, I don't think. But he can't think about that now. Look out the windshield, maybe glance in the mirror a couple times, and just try and set your pace. Hit your marks, try and drive away if you can. Just run your race. At least if Jacob Quill gets there, it wasn't from a lack of trying on your end.
Jacob's shown he's the guy to beat day in and day out, and he's shown it once again. But like you said, Peter, Joseph just has to continue to run his race. See Quill catching quickly, though. Try to race him if you can, but if not, you know, you just have to let him go. And what Quill doesn't need is another caution to allow these guys to come back down, take tires. Because remember, he's the only one who pitted, so if we get a caution again, they know how much these tires mean. Even though it's only been, what, 10 laps. Quill has shown that the tire difference does matter here. If you're going to try to see him try to get to the outside of the 31, not quite there.
Passes him over down the back into 3, dives it onto the brakes, and the 29 trying to clear Joseph Smith. Just barely is going to do it off the corner. Smith back to the inside, going down into 1 and 2, drag race into the corner as they dive into the banking. Quill on the high side, Smith on the bottom, side by side for the lead with 17 laps to go this time by. Give it to Jacob Quill into 3.
Jacob Quill with the fresher tires. Going to take the lead and lead us back. 17 to go at Richmond. Does Smith have anything for the new tires of Quill, or is Quill going to continue to pull away? See Cristian Zarate continuing to fall behind. As we do have a battle back here for the P7 position, as Kendorian Davis, after getting caught up in that wreck, trying to get around Gio Turpin.
Jacob Quill has set 3 car lengths now on Joseph Smith, and those fresh tires starting to really show their pace over the rest of the field. And I don't know, Joseph Smith might need something else here if he's going to get Jacob Quill. Obviously, Quill has pushed his tires very hard these opening couple laps. Maybe Smith has something for him as the race goes on, but there's not much time left. 15 to go at the line, and Jacob Quill is going to take it.
And Smith, I definitely think, needs some type of help, whether it's getting Quill catching slow cars in a bad spot to give him an opportunity to get back to the back end, whether it's a caution to allow him to come down and take tires. Something has to give for this 89 or this 31 to get back to the 29 machine. But it's not giving up yet. Has not really lost a lot of time since he's gotten within this half-a-second mark.
Yeah, and it's a little shocking to see him be able to hold on around half a second to Jacob Quill, but I don't know. Quill, the last lap or 2, he has been setting pace, and it's not like Smith is much slower, but he's just a little bit slower, and that's not what you want when the car ahead of you is setting the faster laps. That time by Jacob Quill, about a 1/10 and a half faster than Joseph Smith, and Smith's obviously pushing his car. He's running the second best lap times on the track, but the issue is the driver who's running the first best lap times is Jacob Quill.
And honestly, I don't even know if it's Joseph Smith, you know, trying to match lap times with Quill. I think it's just Quill just trying to maintain a gap here, right? I don't really think that he would go out there and pull out this much of a gap just to lose it all. I just really think right now he knows that he has the best car. He knows he has by far the best tires right now. He's just trying to set sail and try to get to the finish here.
Yeah, this is unbelievable. Couple laps, 20 or so laps to go. Jacob Quill got into the back of Aiden Lucas. Lucas went around for the lead, and Jacob Quill got an EOL penalty out of that lead spot. He was going to restart in the number 1 position all the way to the back of the field, pitted, got his stuff done, and then ripped the top all the way to the lead. and he has pulled away from Joseph Smith, and Joseph Smith has set a big gap over Cristian Zarate, who's currently battling the lap car of Jordan Fisher.
Jordan Fisher just trying to hang in there, trying to get as much points as he can here. You see Zarate with a little bit of blink, but we also have the 72 of Alex Krasinski. He's been, you know, slowly marching his way back up here and slowly catching the 53 machine for this P3 position.
Yeah, I don't think we've talked about Krasinski enough tonight because he's shown so much speed here all the way through practice, qualifying, and the race. That 72 Ford Dark Horse has been on an absolute tear. I mean, a lot of speed that we didn't get to see out of him much last week, and it's refreshing to see Krasinski up in that top 5 and consistently have the speed for it.
Yeah, and I think right now, Zarate might be a little bit irritated with that lap car of Fisher. It's just slowing them both down because it seems like neither one of them can get around each other, allowing the 72 to slowly run these guys down.
Well, remember what happened last week at Charlotte. It was Cristian Zarate who got into the corner of Jacob Fisher and spun him around out of the lead and ultimately took away any chance Fisher had of winning that race. So maybe this is a little bit of payback in a way. He's just slowing him down, saying, you know what, I can't win this race, but I'm sure as hell going to make sure that you're not going to win it either. I'm going to hold you up as much as I can.
Finally see the 53. You saw him, he lifted to let that 39 go. I think maybe Christian got the memo and said, okay, you can go, right? I have to try to hold on to this P3. I want this interview at the end of the race. Obviously, this is only his 3rd race of the season, and we're on race 6 now. So obviously he really needs to go point racing if he wants to, you know, point his way into the playoff picture. Even though he won, I guarantee you there's going to have to be some type of waiver to be made for him to continue to run for a championship.
5 laps to go. Coming to 4 for Jacob Quill with the lead. 2.1 seconds over Joseph Smith. Quill has been setting absolute heaters lap after lap and is driving away off into the sunset. And I don't think that we expected really much less out of him, Christian. I mean, out of the gate, practice, qualifying, he was the fastest, top of the charts for every session. And in the race, he has proven to be the car to beat, the dominant car. He's led the majority of the race. You see 161 out of 198. And as long as nothing else was to happen out through the rest of the field, Jacob Quill could be leading 3 or so laps more coming to 200.
All he needs to do is get it back to the line here. He has some lap traffic ahead. If he gets to them, he just needs to negotiate around them without, you know, putting himself at jeopardy of, you know, losing this race with 3 to go. But Jacob Quill, I mean, man of the hour, man of, you know, the last couple weeks, obviously did not show up last week to Charlotte, which was a huge surprise, right? But it did allow someone else to come down and claim victory here in the Prestige Cup Series. But coming back across the line, we'll be seeing Jacob Quill take the white flag. 1 to go here from Richmond.
Sent to the back, 30 laps to go. Drove his way to the front, ripped it around the top like we haven't seen all night long. And as he navigates lap traffic, Jacob Quill clear track ahead of him down into turn 3.
Jacob Quill came in, told us about how quick he thought he could be here throughout the season, and Jacob Quill once again dominates again at Richmond.
Quill first, Joseph Smith crossing the line second, Cristian Zarate third, Krasinski fourth, Wyatt Thompson fifth, Dorian Davis sixth, Gabriel Ngoli seventh, Oliver Quinney, Gio Turpin, and then Andrew Tenold fights back to a top 10 finish. And a dominating performance, though, for Jacob Quill as he's going to roll it around to the front straightaway and get to burn it down in front of these Richmond, Virginia fans.
And well-earned burnout for this 29 machine. And like you said earlier, I wish I could say I was surprised, but I don't think anybody is, right? Jacob Quill has shown that he is going to be the guy to beat. And it's funny because I don't even think he's racing for points. So, he talked about that he might not be able to make all the races, and still, I mean, he's missed a race, and he's only 10 points back, and it's
he's gonna be the point.
Yeah, and we'll come out with the points lead after winning stage 1. No, after getting P5 in stage 1. My apologies, and that just shows how dominant he was. Came down, pitted to try to flip the stage, still got a P5 in that for stage 1. Comes out here and dominates. Obviously, leading the majority of laps, 165 out of the 200. So make it three-quarters of the race he led here.
Christian, I know last time Jacob Quill won, I wasn't in the booth, so I didn't get to see quite the dominance. But I gotta say, it's been quite impressive to watch that 29 charge through the field multiple times and lead that many laps. I mean, I know a lot of drivers and a lot of fans think the racing could get boring when a driver like that dominates, but there's so much more to look at. And fortunately, we're gonna get to talk to Jacob Quill about this drive tonight.
See if we can get that 29 up in the booth. Hey, Jacob, is Christian and Peter up here in the booth got a copy?
Hi.
Well, I mean, we talked to you before, and kind of the same manner, but another dominating win here for you at Richmond for the Grumpies. Old school throwback 150. You know, looked like you had a little bit of a up and down day, maybe a little bit of a controversial finish there, but walk us through your race. Walk us through those last couple of restarts.
They can whine about it all they want. If they don't like hard racing at a short track, then they can just go to the garage and pack it up in the hauler. That's the way I believe. Barely tapped him middle of center. He got loose and he lost talent and just spun the thing out. So that's his fault. I don't care. I got EOL for it. It's just short track racing. And, his team full of, Beckman and Tenold, they're all just a bunch of whiny babies that only want their team and friends to succeed. And, you got to hold back a guy like me to drive through the fucking field to do that shit. So, they can suck on it if they think that I'm very undeserving of this one because they certainly had nothing on me today.
Well, they barely held you back at all. That last restart, when you started going up to the top side and driving around people, we kind of saw like a hint of it at the end of the stage when you pitted, tried to flip it, and still ended up getting fifth out of it. What was it like just driving around everybody on the high side? It was like they were standing still. Oh. And we've lost Jacob Quill.
Jacob Quill,
What were you saying? I got rudely interrupted by Beckman.
No, that's okay. I was just talking about how crazy it was for you to drive around the high side on that last restart. What was it like driving past those guys?
Oh yeah, it felt amazing. Just being able to drive around them, effortlessly because I don't know, maybe they just decided they didn't want to come to race today and they just wanted a pity party in a single file line. So obviously it takes someone to move out of that, but I was the one today and it clearly worked. So I don't see anything wrong with it.
well, clearly you were the guy to beat, and hands down, I mean, looking at the graphic, 165 at 201 laps led, and that's not, I mean, something that they can take away from you at all. Obviously, a little bit of a bump from a car that was obviously slower and tried to strategize their way into getting the lead, and unfortunately, just a little bit of contact. And we called it up in the booth. Just definitely didn't look on purpose. Looked like you just got in the back end, and just because it was a little bit slower, a little bit of contact, and around he went. But after that, never gave it away. But still dominating win for you coming in. Lost the points lead to Fisher there, 10 points back. This will most definitely give you the points lead after the bad day that 39 had. But before we let you go, is there anybody you really want to thank for this win here at Richmond?
Oh yeah, thanks to Precision Speed Solutions today. I love them being on my car all the time. They're a great setup shop, great group of people, and also thanks to my team, Nicholas Road, for running tonight, and doing a little bit of strategy calls. Also thank the Cristian Zarate. He also helped me out a little bit throughout this race, and very helpful from that guy to be good friends with him. Last week he kind of made a embarrassing statement of himself, but I know he can clean it up. He's a clean driver. We'll see what holds for the future.
Well, still a dominating performance by you, but we're going to go ahead and let you go back down, get prepared for next week, and once again, congratulations on this one here at Richmond.
Thank you.
And don't let the rumors start too early. But remember how last week we were talking about Cristian Zarate possibly looking for a team? It's got to be a good thing for Jacob Quill to be giving you good words in his post-race interview.
Exactly. When you have someone like Jacob Quill who owns, I would say probably outside of that 29 machine, I would say a very strong organization here in the Prestige Cup Series. Obviously, Gravino couldn't make it this race. He's shown he's been a top 3 driver. I think he's one of the only guys who could consistently show up and probably give a run to this 29 machine. And obviously we saw Nicholas Road run really well tonight. Obviously, did not have the finish he wanted, but that we expected out of that P11 for him. But when you have someone like Jacob Quill really in your corner backing you up, like you said, looking for a team. I definitely think that 33 might be open if that 50, if that Zarate driver wants it. But enough of that. Well, performance stock. We need to go ahead and I think Peter, you have Joseph Smith, your P2 driver.
Yeah, Joseph Smith, it's Peter and Christian up in the HVTV broadcasting booth. You got us?
Yep.
Well, a second place finish, and it's right where you started, and you seem to be one of the few drivers who was able to take the fight to Jacob Quill. But what did you need there at the end just to get that one more spot better?
You know, I felt like I could have had it, but he got an EOL from a previous incident, so he got on the fresh tires, and I was running this whole race on 2 sets because we made a mistake on the first pit cycle. So we ran that whole race on 2 sets. So
Wow.
I feel like, yeah, if we could have, I don't know, if we could have had fresher tires at that end, I could have definitely put up a better fight against him. But I can't be too mad because, I spun it lap 2, went all the way to the back, spent the whole race recovering, and yeah.
I mean, you kind of put it there perfectly, right? Obviously, had that mistake there on lap 2 on the after the green flag waved here at Richmond, and just had to really just grind the whole day to get back up here inside the top 5. Got yourself up into the race lead, and then, like you just said, uh, obviously Jacob Quill getting that penalty allowed him to come down, take tires. He knew he was going to start at the back, came down, took those freshies, and unfortunately, just fresh tires are going to be better than old ones every day of the week. But when it came to driving through the field, obviously you and Quill, I feel like were the only ones who could do it. What was it like, having to continue to grind the whole race to get back up here into this P2 position?
I'm gonna be honest. After that lap 2 spin, my confidence was kind of blown because I had made the same mistake week prior. I'd spun it on the start, so we kind of have a problem with spinning at the start of the race. But yeah, my friends they told me just lock in, keep your head down, keep calm, just save the tires, wrap the bottom, and I was patient. I let people take each other out. I let everyone wear out their tires, trying to fight for their spots. All those cautions definitely saved my race. Um, yeah, that was really just it. That was it. I just kept my head down, just kept going. Safe.
Yeah, and that was good advice because obviously it got you back up there. And for this second place finish, is there anybody you want to thank? Friends, family, or sponsors?
Oh, so many. I want to thank Xavier Regelbrugge. He was my crew chief that made that mistake, but hey, he got me the spot back. Um, I want to thank Lucian Thompson. He was my spotter. I want to thank my friend Joshua. I want to thank Blair Saunders. I want to apologize to Jordan Fisher. That's my friend I took out in that one incident. So I want to apologize to him and thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here because I wouldn't be here without him because he brought me to this league. And thank you to my girlfriend too. She was watching. My granddad, my dad, my mom. So yeah,
It's good to see all the family out here, and hopefully next week we get to talk to you again and maybe one spot better.
yeah. Thank you very much.
Have a good night. That was Joseph Smith, second place finisher, and Christian is with Cristian Zarate, your third place finisher.
Hey Christian, it's Christian and Peter up in the HBTV booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you guys.
Well, like, I saw third place run for you, Christian. Obviously came in here with a lot of momentum from that win there at Charlotte last week. Obviously, kind of showed you had a strong car here towards the latter half of this, race here. I feel like around, that lap 100 mark, you really started to drive your way up through the field. Granted, through some adversity from the guys in front of you, but coming up here with a P3 finish, walk us through your race here.
Well, we weren't allowed to qualify, unfortunately. The incidents last week, we'll put it like that. But I mean, first 50 laps, he had already accumulated a minute of damage, and I got that repaired, and then by lap 100, we again had 2 minutes of repairs because I just kept being rammed into, But I mean, we never went a lap down. I always got as much damage as I could. I didn't take any tires for about 100 laps just so I could get, my damage repaired. But yeah, I mean, I know I was fast all day again. It's just like you said, Chris, a lot of adversity, unfortunately. But next time I'm able to qualify, I have faith. We're gonna be back in victory lane very shortly. Whenever Jeb Quill isn't here, of course, because that guy's insane.
Yeah, well, Quill gave you a lot of props in his race-winning interview, and said you were a big help along with his own teammate of Nicholas Road, and you've shown a lot of speed over the last couple weeks. Do we think that maybe you're going to start looking for a team to join full time, and could Quill Speed Performance possibly be at the top of that list?
I mean, we'll have to wait and see. I mean, whatever pops up, pops up. I haven't really thought too much into a full-time team. I kind of like just racing on my own right now, because they allow me to race by myself. But if there's ever a team that wants me, like, hey, I'm here. um, but yeah, I mean, whatever pops up, pops up. I mean, whatever pops up, pops up. That's it.
Well, I mean, you've definitely shown that. I feel like you deserve to have a place here in, uh, I guess, a chartered ride, if you want to call it that, right? I mean, came out here, went at Charlotte, maybe in a controversial manner, but still showed that you had the speed here, and obviously, um, showed that you had speed here. Obviously, like you said, couldn't qualify from the incident at Charlotte, and still was able to work your way up through the field up here into this top three spot with damage, having to limp it around, not taking tires. That really shows that you have the patience, you have the strategy. Obviously, you talked about not taking tires, just trying to limp this damage out. But I mean, obviously, I feel like you've really proven yourself in time to put yourself in a spot to get a chartered ride here. But before we let you go, is there really anybody you want to thank for this podium spot? Any friends, family, sponsors, anybody you'd like to thank for this P3?
Thank you to the future sponsors. I want to sponsor my in real life IRL journey. If anybody wants to buy me a car, I thank you to those future sponsors. I want to thank Jacob again. Coaching me through the day, helped me quite a bit. Tyler Helms, my friend. Nicholas Road, my friend. Always being patient, respectful with me on the racetrack, always giving each other advice. And I wanna thank Zachary Trevino a lot. That guy's the dog. Good luck to him in the NWP 400 too. Yeah. Thank you to my grandma for buying me a subscription, and yeah, that's about it.
Well, a great run for you, Christian, and love to see you, obviously part of the HVTV family. So we're going to drag you back out, and regardless of if you race next week or next week, whatever it is, right? Obviously, said you're kind of running on your own terms. Hopefully, we can talk to you soon, maybe in victory lane once again.
All right. Well, hopefully I see you guys in victory lane. Real soon. Real soon.
Yeah, you have a great rest of the night, Christian.
No.
That was Cristian Zarate, your third place finisher.
Had a little
And
bit of
I
surprise at the end there.
I love talking to Cristian Zarate, I'll be honest, because I mean, and also that Jacob Quill interview as well. I mean, you get a very raw driver's point of view, and one of the more polarizing drivers in the field the last 2 weeks. So it's nice to hear his view of how the race went, and especially because we end up hearing a lot of other people's views throughout the race. So it's always good to talk to him.
Hi. I wanted to come into the broadcast booth real quick and clear some things up if that's completely okay with you guys.
Go
Yeah.
for it. That's Zachary Beekman, the lead admin currently of
Um,
Prestige.
the actions and language that Jacob Quayle used in the broadcast booth will never be tolerated here at Prestige. If I know he name dropped me and a bunch of other drivers and stuff like that. We don't mind the name dropping at all. We don't, if you want to be like, oh, I beat this guy or hey, I did this to this guy, that's completely fine. Well, what we don't tolerate here at Prestige is using vulgar language here in the broadcast. We want this to be able to be broadcasted by anyone, and the language used by Jacob in his interview and the responses he was DMing some drivers and in the beef chat will not be tolerated. So sadly, even though he's been dominating in the league and is leading the points, he will no longer be in the league. He
All right.
has officially been banned from the league for doing for saying those vulgar words and yeah, mainly those words, because my little cousins watch the stream and so do a lot of the older drivers here at Prestige. They have kids who watch this stream, and we're not trying to promote that kind of language here. So yeah, I wanted to come in and clear that up. I'm not mad at all. We're not mad at the fact that he name dropped some drivers and was mad about that. It's specifically the language that he used, the vulgar language, the cussing, that will not be tolerated here at Prestige. So just in case anybody was wondering what happened and why he was banned from the league, I just needed to put that out there.
We appreciate the insight, and thanks for letting us know, and everybody at home.
Absolutely. You guys have a great rest of your night. The broadcast was amazing as always, and to everybody at home, we do apologize for that vulgar language.
Thank you.
Thanks, Zach.
Yep.
Well,
Definitely some
there
shocking
it
news. Definitely shocking news, and news that is going to shake up the rest of the season. I mean, Jacob Quill out of the Prestige Cup Series due to the way he portrayed himself. Just moments ago here with his race-winning interview, obviously, like Zach said, doesn't mind the name dropping, but in a way, I do agree with him. Right? There's children and that come in here and either watch their nieces or their aunts or uncles or their mom and dad come up here and race, and they're just here to have a good time. And obviously, even for me, who owner of HFIT TV, not the biggest fan of that as well. But obviously, it's the driver's responsibility to hold themselves accountable and to be professional when they're up here in the booth. And obviously, seems like the admin team not very happy with Jacob Quill, but that change in the league will definitely change up the points and the playoffs and everything. That will potentially implicate the team standing as well, right? Obviously, with Jacob Quill out, that could potentially put that whole team at risk of pulling out of this league.
it's going to be a interesting next couple of weeks to see what happens to the Cool Performance group and how they will tackle this one. And obviously, a big shakeup, like Christian said, but I think we can get race rundown as well ready so that we can get into our post-race show here on HVTV. For the Grumpy's Old School Throwback 150, Jacob Quill, obviously the winner, and we just heard what the admin team has decided to do with him, but Joseph Smith in the second spot. Cristian Zarate got P3 after the win last week at Charlotte. Alex Kosinski in fourth. Wyatt Thompson fifth. Kendorian Davis sixth. Seventh is Gabriel Goli. Eighth, Oliver Quinney. Gio Turpin battles back to a ninth, and Andrew Tenold 10th.
Starting back here outside the top 10, Nicholas Roden at number 3 machine. Dustin Hardy, P12. Devin Galvin, P13. Wyatt Youngbled, P14. Benjamin Bushnell on the 25, going to be P15. Jordan Fisher, tough night for him. Looked like he was one of the only guys who could go up there and race with Jacob Quill, but rough race for him. Still come out here P16. Really not a bad result for him. Could have been a lot worse. 17th for Brian White there in the 84. P18 for Nicholas Amos. 19th is Alex Eskridge, and rounding out that top 20, Justin Wilkes in the 93.
Yeah, and in the 21st position, Blair Saunders, Aiden Lucas, 22nd after the contact between him and Jacob Quill, sent him out of the lead and out of the race. TJ Hanley, 23rd. 24th is Joseph Enright. Eli McDonald, 25th. Jeffrey Herrick, 26th. Zachary Beekman, who you just heard from, 27th. Brandon Kiger, 28th. Joshua Parent, 29th. Kai Holmes, 30th. And your final two cars, Dalton Bernius, and your race control, JJ Moore, in 32nd. So a wild night. And man, just when we thought it was going to be over, Christian, we got even more news there after all those interviews were done. Jacob Quill now out of the league. Obviously, that's going to be the big story heading into next week.
Exactly. I mean, Jacob Quill goes from your points leader to out, which I think, would still put Jordan Fisher back into the points lead. So Jordan will retain that points lead, and we can actually pull up your points now. Before the race, obviously, this is before we dropped the green flag here. We can do a little race rundown of where everybody stands here. So Jordan Fisher was your points leader. Oliver Quinney, I don't think made enough to put a dent into Jordan Fisher's points lead, but obviously Jacob Quill will jump back down out of here, and everybody from third on back will jump up a spot, I believe, and that'll actually give someone else a spot here in the top 16 as we get ready to approach the playoffs.
Yeah, it's going to be big for playoffs because obviously now that's a driver who's locked in, who's not locked in anymore. It's going to, like you said, give another spot to somebody. And I think Oliver Quinney, while he didn't have a good enough day quite to catch Jordan Fisher, I think he's cut the lead down about half about what it's going to be because Quinney finished 8th and Fisher finished 16th. So it should be smaller. I think it's going to be a little under 10 points probably for that points lead, depending on stage points and how it gets calculated with penalty points and everything. But I mean, it's hard to really ignore the big elephant in the room that Jacob Quill, your second place coming into this, definitely was going to lead at this points leader, now no longer in the field, but it gives opportunities to other drivers.
No, I definitely agree. I mean, when you saw Dorian Davis back there, he's going to bump himself into the P15 in points, obviously. And someone, I guess the P17 driver will bump his way up into right now being in contention for the playoffs, obviously. And that's going to be huge for some of these for some of these drivers.
Yeah, and Dorian Davis had a really good day too. Finished 6th after starting 27th, and he had a great run last week at Charlotte. I'm waiting for this 88 to end up in victory lane because he seems to be one of the most daring drivers in the field. He'll kind of use lines that other drivers don't want. Last week at Charlotte, he was a pioneer of that high side, and we got to talk to him in his post-race interview about it. So waiting for Dorian Davis to maybe lock himself in with a win.
Remember, was competitive at Daytona. Looks like they have a top 3 car at Charlotte. Got taken out late, and just hasn't caught a break here. Looked relatively quick here at Richmond, but obviously I don't think anybody had anything for that 29 machine. But yeah, I definitely see Dorian Davis finally popping out and, taking home a victory, a flag here, especially with Jacob Quill out. That really does open up a lot of more opportunities for some of these guys to come and race for race wins here. Because obviously, we've seen it time and time again. If Jacob Quill isn't wrecked out, he is probably by far the favorite week in and week out when he shows up to the track.
Yeah, next week, so this week we were at Richmond, and next week it's going to be Motegi on the oval. So these drivers are going to go across the world, and that's going to be really interesting. 130 laps around there. It's a track that a lot of drivers probably don't have experience on, and I'd honestly guess a good chunk of this field probably has to buy it for this race. So that is going to be a little unorthodox to what we normally see. While yes, it's an oval, we might get to see some drivers up front next week that we haven't really talked about much and might actually have an opportunity to snag a win or at least a good points day.
Yeah, exactly. And with those new style tracks, whatever, like Motegi, I don't even think I have Motegi, so we're going to have to buy that for the broadcast. I feel like with this next gen, experience will matter when it comes to there, and I feel like if there's anybody that has Motegi, who's ran it before, that's going to be invaluable experience and practice that comes in there. And I can imagine a lot of drivers putting in a lot of time this week, trying to get Motegi under their belt, trying to figure out, where they need to run, how they need to run, and how to set up the race for next week.
Yeah, no doubt. It's going to be a exciting race next week, and everybody here should we'd love to see you come out and tune in for that one because I mean, especially now with no Jacob Quill, this it opens up a lot for what could happen at the front of the field, and yeah, it should be an exciting one.
Yeah, it should be exciting, but once again, we got to get there first. But before we wrap everything up, once again, you were watching a production of the Prestige Racing Cup Series here at Richmond, not Nashville Super Speedway here. Once again, my name is Cristian Zarate, lead producer and commentator, alongside Peter Terrio. Once again, loved having Peter up in the booth, and would love to continue to have him up here for the foreseeable future here for the Prestige Cup Series. But once again, huge shout out to the league sponsors for tonight's race. Backmarker, make sure to use code PSR10 at checkout over at backmarker.com. Also, a huge shout out to Admin Box. If you guys are looking for any type of admin box, any button box to help, maybe like for someone like a JJ Moore to help, run the league, run your hosted races, make sure to go over the admin box and use code PRSBOX at checkout. And lastly, a huge shout out to Team Foster nonprofit, to try to get therapy dogs out to wounded veterans after they are released into out of active duty. A great organization, and I highly recommend you go over there and help the Prestige Racing Series help fundraise money for Team Foster. But once again, thank you to Team Foster for all they do, not only on but off the track. But once again, guys, I hope everybody has a great rest of the night, and we will see you guys on the channel tomorrow for the AWC Pro Series with the Xfinity cars at Nashville Super Speedway. So we will have that graphic prepared for next week. But once again, hope everybody has a great rest of the night. Jacob Quill, your winner, and we'll have to see who can come out on top next week at Motegi. But once again, hope everybody has a great rest of the night, and you have just watched a HVTV production.